Morning, Javier.
Good morning, Javier. And Jimmy.
Jimmy, the 823. You didn't answer me the other day. What does the 823 stand for? If it's your birthday, I'm impressed because that's mine. Not really impressed, just excited, I guess would be a better word. If it's just a random number, an area code, that's fine too.
That's my guess. That's an area code.
My guess it's a birthday. I'm half full this morning.
Huh. Ah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Thursday. Not just any Thursday. Mark Miller is back home. Woo-hoo! All right. Tried to give you my best Jim Mandich there.
That was good. I like it.
All right.
I like it.
Something to put a smile on your face. Top of the morning to you. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. So when your wife was driving you home yesterday because you had some medical procedures and you couldn't drive, were you like blaring your music? Did you have like control of the car or no?
Funny story. Funny you should ask, David. No, I had zero control. Two things happened. One happened right off the bat, and it caused silence for 30 minutes. Music on, her station. She's a Jimmy Buffett fan. We have Sirius Radio. She listened to Margaritaville the entire ride home. I didn't even think about putting on Moving the Chains and maybe listening to my buddy Pat. Didn't think about it. Knew right away that she had set the mood. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Well, we were hungry. I had not eaten it. I had to have a bone marrow biopsy at 12:30, so I couldn't eat before. So I had not had any food really other than 2 little packages of graham crackers when I woke up with my little buzz. And so we went through the Chick-fil-A drive-thru. Anybody who's ever listened to the show knows I'm a fan of ice cream. I think that the Chick-fil-A cookies and cream milkshake is one of the second best ice cream treat available through a drive-thru in the United States of America.
Oh,
from a chain. Okay.
Right.
The Culver's concrete mixer is number 1. The cookies and cream milkshake is number 2.
Okay.
Here's where the dilemma falls. Wife got a sandwich. I got a sandwich. First thing I did was prepare the wife's sandwich for her. She wanted the Chick-fil-A sauce on her sandwich. So I did that. I commented, wow, kind of tough in this car because we both had a drink in the cup holder. I'm holding said milkshake between my legs. I commented, wow, there's not a lot of room for the milkshake, kind of tight to hold it. I get her sandwich ready. I hand it to her. She says, thank you. I say, my pleasure. I went Chick-fil-A right at her. Then I go to prepare my sandwich. I do not like Chick-fil-A sauce. I know that bothers a lot of you. I don't like it. I don't think it's any good. I do, however, on my regular Chick-fil-A fried chicken sandwich, like mayonnaise. And I opened my packet of mayonnaise and I put it on my Chick-fil-A sandwich, and she hits the brakes.
Whoa. Well,
She did not warn me. Well, because we're in traffic. Fowler's a busy road in Tampa. Shake goes forward. I go to grab it and literally put both fingers through the styrofoam.
Oh, boy.
I've now got shake over my hand. Sandwich is going into the shake. I get the sandwich right away. Instinct. Shake is gone. I mean, I have put 2 fingers, like my hand in the shake.
Right.
Expletives are flying at this point.
Sure.
A lot of SOBs coming out. No maybe a few F-bombs. You'd have to record it to know what I said because it was blind swearing. There's no recall of what I said. I just know that it was a slew of expletives. I get the shake into the bag and I just say, we got to go to a gas station. I got to clean up because I'm a mess. I proceed to eat the entire sandwich in 38 seconds.
Right.
I'm pissed.
Well, and you're starving.
And so I go into the 7-Eleven. I was going to get something to drink. There was a lady at the counter buying lotto tickets when I walked in. I went back to the bathroom. I washed my hands. I cleaned up. I had some shake on my legs. I washed my legs, dried my hands. In fact, it was one of those. And then I realized I got an automatic dryer. I'm like, well, this is great because that's what I want right now. I walk out of said bathroom. I actually see a roll of brown paper towels on the counter back where I'm not really supposed to go. I walk right back to the counter, rip off a big thing of paper towels, start drying my hand, drying my legs. She's still at the counter getting lottery tickets. I'm like, F this. Out the door I go. I don't need another drink. I've got water in the car. It'll suffice. I get back in the car, finish wiping up a couple of things, throw it away. We go. There's no talking until we hit probably around 275 on the way south. So, good 30 miles of really no talking. As we get to Sarasota, there is lots of traffic. There tends to be lots of traffic all of the time in Sarasota. I said, honey, I know this sounds strange. Get in the far right lane. It's faster. It's faster. I said, you've just got to trust me on this. I've done this drive a couple of times. For whatever reason, the left lane becomes gridlock. The right lane keeps moving. Both directions, too. Don't know why. Doesn't make any sense. But she gets in the right lane. You know what happens? We're moving. Okay. And then she decides to switch to the middle lane. You know what happens?
You stop.
We stop. I said, I told you, stay in the right lane. And she gives me a little crap. And I said, kind of been nice of you to give me that warning that you were slowing down. She goes, you need to take responsibility for that check. I said, you need to be easier on the brakes. I don't think there was much communication between Sarasota and Port Charlotte.
Welcome home, Mark.
Yep. Because I think I did tell her at one point, if I had my choice between the two, I would have taken the cookies and cream milkshake over the sandwich. If I were only to order one thing there, it would have been the milkshake. But by the time we got to about Port Charlotte, I was calmed down. We talked the rest of the way home. Everything's fine.
All right.
But I wasn't fulfilled with my meal.
Right. So much for the nice, relaxing, the music of your choice. Go grab some good food and eats. Right. Uh-huh.
But it was all good because the daughter, after we picked her up from gymnastics, she said, well, I'm a little hungry. You guys were talking about pizza. And it was 5 and 9. That's a bad time to order a pizza unless you're getting the stuff that other people eat that I don't. And Pizza A closed. Pizza B closed. Ooh, wait a minute. Let's try this guy. New place. I'll even give him a shout out in the 239. Mama Anna's. It's a great place. And I called him and it was 5 minutes to 9. I said, I know you guys are closing soon. Is it too late to order a pie? And the guy in a very thick Italian accent, no, not at all. What can I get you? I said, you're my guy, man. Need a large pepperoni and mushroom. He said, 15 minutes. Boom, I'm in the car. I go over there. It gets better, David. I walk in. Pizza wasn't ready yet. I got there quick, made every light. I get in and the Knicks and 76ers are on a big screen.
Yes, they are.
And I'm watching the game, and here comes this waitress. I don't know. I would say mid-20s. I would say out of college, maybe in college. Very attractive, about 5'8", 5'9", tall girl. And she walks by me, and she says, I'd really like to get to the guy who's working this. I'd really like to get home before the game's over. Huh. I'll be there. She walks back in, and she goes to the computer right next to her. I said, get home to watch the game or just get home before the game's over? She goes, to get home to watch the rest of the game and eat my dinner at my house. I said, I said, you're a basketball fan? She goes, I actually worked a little bit for both the Celtics and Knicks, and keeps going. That's the only conversation I had with her. And I'm like, Felipe, Trent, how about this?
Definitely Felipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
NBA fan.
Right. Worked for 2 NBA teams.
So I got my pizza. It was wonderful. I mean, the fact that they did it basically at closing time was even better. And there's a young lady that works there that's a sports fan. How about that?
Okay.
And that was the good game of the 2 last night.
Yes, it was the only game of the 2 last night.
I know, but that's, first time that wasn't the game. And
no,
the T-Wolves and Spurs were. Last night, flip-flop them. We called that right, by the way. We said we'd take the points. And did that hit or not? Because that was really close.
Yeah, Sixers covered. They were getting 7.5.
Right. Yeah, so we said we'd take the points. If we were to lay the points, we'd lay them at San Antonio. San Antonio destroyed the T-Wolves last night. The Ducks even the series, and the Sabres look pretty good.
Well, they got the power play going. If they're going to get the power play going, look out. Look out. That had to be a tough game to watch for a Lightning fan because, boy, Buffalo put the puck in the back of the net, seemed to be able to get their shots through. Okay, had room on the power play for high-scoring chances. Okay, and a Lightning fan watching that had to be like, man, that didn't look so hard.
Well, if they watched the intermission, David, when Biz broke down the power play and pointed out how the guy on the goal line was moving, I would have been throwing. If I'm a Bolts fan, I'm throwing things at the TV, going, I want Kucherov to move like that.
Right, because the one time he moved like that, they scored a power play goal.
They did. Yes, they did.
Oh, boy.
But Tampa fan, you can transition because your baseball team ain't losing.
Woo!
Wow.
Man. 2 weeks ago, we said, the pitching needs to arrive. Well, they must have took it personally because not only has it arrived, this is the best stretch of starting pitching in the history of the franchise. And this franchise has had some pitching.
Yes, it has. I didn't know that. That's pretty impressive.
I think it's 13 consecutive starts of 3 runs or less.
Wow.
Something like that.
Get it done in that league, David.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it will. So, yeah. And by the way, did yesterday's game move? You forget sometimes those early starts, getaway day, all of a sudden you turn the TV on, you're like, holy blank, it's the bottom of the 7th. What time is it? 2:30? Damn.
And 2 things that are not directly correlated, but at one time happened. The Braves on May the 6th finally lost a series. The Mariners got them. They lost 2 of 3 to Seattle. And on that same day, ironically, we lost an icon in the broadcast business who at one time owned and David, for one game, managed the Atlanta Braves. We'll talk about Ted Turner today. We'll talk about the Bolts today. The starting 5, that's 25 minutes away. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So my buddy Ryan saw the I sent him the video. I rang the bell there yesterday. I sent him the video, guy that came to see me from Oregon. And he just thought I had the mustache because the gray in the video, they're so far away, doesn't really look like there's anything on the sides and bottom yet. And he referred to it. He says, get rid of that porn star mustache. And I said, no way. The wife and daughter hate it. It ain't happening. I'll have to on Sunday. It's Mother's Day after all. And since the wife hates it, I'm taking everybody out to brunch, the 3 women. And by brunch, I mean ordering off the menu. I don't mean buffet. I don't do buffets. I can now, but I still don't do them. More depressed that it was 4 goals on 16 shots or that their power play was sensational, Empire? It can be both, by the way. I mean, it really can.
And it was their backup unit, too. I think their backup unit scored both goals.
Uh-huh.
Just like your backup unit scored the tying goal in Game 7.
I have not, Shimko. I have not. Buffets are the worst, Javier. They are. Are they for you as a chef or are they easier? I do remember Sunday brunch when I worked at O'Shea's in Marco Island, Florida. And you had to be there by 9 as a server, if memory serves me right. If you showed up after 9:10, you lost your section and had to work the buffet because it was one where servers stood behind and put the food on the plate for you. And I remember there was a girl that I crushed on there, and she never wanted anything to do with me. She was my buddy, but I was in the friend zone. It sucked. And she was a little bit older and pretty hot. And her goal on the buffet, she used to crack me up, is to stir the eggs to make sure the scrambled eggs didn't turn green. Because if you leave eggs sit in a buffet, they will turn green. First Watch has, you know what, Ryan? I used to not like First Watch. I'm okay with First Watch. We end up doing it more than Skillets. Skillets probably a little bit better. First Watch there's an item that my daughter loves, so I know we can go there and she's happy. And their specials are usually pretty good. But I see where you're coming from. I can't argue too much with you. I stayed up way too late. I'm tired. It's out of my travel district. I know that's right by where you are working, Ryan. I don't go down that far. Never ever. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Steve Carney next hour. Red Hot Rays. Where did the Lightning go from here? He covers them both. And Tim Brando to join us a couple hours from now. I reached out to Timmy B. I said, you worked for Turner in the 90s. You got a Ted Turner story? He says, I've got one great one. I said, well, you got to come on and tell it. I warned him we only got 15 minutes.
Quick question for you. Do I need to be here for that interview after I get him on the phone? Because that question should take up the majority of the time. Well, and I love Timmy B. You know I do.
Yeah.
He just gives a long answer.
Yes, and that's why I told them. Said, just so you know, we only have 15 minutes. Hard top of the hour break. You know all about that. And here's my hope. We could do the one Ted Turner story, and then maybe you could get in your college football thing, because he's the Tony Petitti guy. He's on board for the 24.
Ooh.
So
yeah, I'm okay with it. I mean, sure, if we get there, that's
just.
I don't think we've got the time.
I'm hoping for a 2-question interview. Okay, I'm going to cut right to the chase. Okay.
You can't even give him a hi, how you doing?
Nope, I'm not.
All right, that's the mistake we've made in the past.
We have. Not going to do
how
it
you
this
doing?
time.
6 minutes later, first question.
Nope. I did all that via text yesterday afternoon and evening. No. We conversed. Okay. No reason to, for warm, friendlies, nice to these. Nope. Let's get right to it. Timmy B, we brought you on because you got a Ted Turner story. What is it?
But Ted Turner in 1970 bought an Atlanta UHF station. That means it was between 13 and what do they go to, like 70? Yeah, the dial TVs, because you had, you basically had 2 through 12 that were VHF, right? If I have that, or VHF. And then the UHF channels were 13 through however high that went.
Right. I grew up, the local PBS was on channel 13. And so I didn't know if that was part of the one or part of the other. But he bought channel 17.
Right. In Atlanta in 1970.
Correct. Yeah.
His father owned a billboard company. His father committed suicide when Ted was, I think, in his 20s. His dad was 53, maybe younger, but his dad was 53. And Ted took over the business in 1963 and then bought the UHF station.
Right.
Channel 17 in Atlanta.
Yep.
No one really understood what the hell, why, what the reason for it was. TV wasn't, certainly UHF stations were not that big.
Nope. And then he made another purchase a couple years later. He purchased the Atlanta Braves. Mark, do you know why he purchased the Atlanta Braves?
I've got a pretty good idea.
Because Channel 17 needed programming. And he was going to put every game on Channel 17. And then apparently, so that the greater Atlanta area could see the channel, it costs like X amount of money. And then he realized, well, if I'm going to have to pay that money just so that my fans can see it, well, I can go national for about the same amount of money. So
yeah, he put the Braves on in 72, bought the station in 70, put the Braves and the Hawks on in 72. He did not yet own the Braves at that point. He bought the rights to put their games on his Channel 17. And then in 1976, the FCC allowed the station to transmit their stuff to local cable providers nationwide.
yeah.
That's when we started seeing Andy Griffin. I mean, the shows in the early Turner days on TBS. Maybe, I don't think Dukes of Hazzard, but you were watching, a lot of Andy Griffin. I mean,
yes.
Who didn't watch 3 Andy Griffins during a Braves rain delay?
There's no doubt you'd watch one, then you get an update. But it was spectacular. Also, say the game was 1:30 on Sunday. So at 1:00, it would be Beverly Hillbillies, followed by Braves Reds at 1:35 on the Superstation, TBS.
By the way, he bought TBS, which was the technology broadcast system in 1978 for $50,000 from MIT. So he could have the Turner broadcast system. Seems like a good investment looking back.
Yeah, that's wow. 50 grand?
Right. He bought the Braves in 76, bought the Hawks in 77. And as Sonny does point out correctly, not 1:00, 1:05.
I know.
And 1:35.
Yep.
Yes.
Only channel like it in America. Would totally mess up the TV guide.
And his whole thought, and I do give him credit, his thought behind it was everybody's flipping for 5 minutes to figure out what's on. They can come to me and watch the beginning of the show. The Goodwill games obviously started CNN. When you text me that he passed yesterday, I simply responded, a life well lived.
Oh,
87 years old. We lost the America's Cup. He said, how much money do you need so we can make sure we don't lose? Did what he wanted to do throughout.
Was a man's man, always had a pretty lady on his arm. The most famous of which, married 10 years to Jane Fonda. Had serious health issues, unfortunately, the last, 20% of his life. But, wow, a giant, an absolute media giant.
And for me, another thing that he did, because you were in the Northeast, you had Vince McMahon's wrestling.
Right.
That was a New York Northeast
Yes.
thing. The rest of us got their wrestling from TBS. He bought WCW, World Championship Wrestling. One Gordon Soley. Nothing better than a Gordon Soley promo. I'm sorry.
When you do It's the best thing you do. You and I are not big imitation guys, but when you do like the Monday Night Wrestling and you do the week-long where they're going to be, that's the best thing you do.
Now I'm a lot of pressure because I'm going to try to pull one off here. I got cities rolling through my head. It is the beauty of my first wife being from Georgia and her family still living in a lot of small Georgia towns.
Sure. Rome, Smyrna. Okay. Oh, yeah. You can just go right through them. And
Right.
of course, Mark, where are we ending up?
Well, David, where are we ending up? On Monday, David, we'll be in Rome, Georgia at the Field Auditorium. We'll be at Tifton High School on Tuesday, Statesboro on Wednesday, Thursday night, Waycross. Friday night, we'll be in Statesboro again. And then Saturday night, we're at the Omni in Atlanta.
They play before 5,000 people all week, and then we're going to do 17,000 on Saturday night.
You're damn right. You're damn right. Ted Turner, gone at the age of 87. The starting five is next on Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise. On 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating
The
needs.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
This is Miller and Moulton.
The small towns in Georgia, and I love the fact Mark always throws in a high school because it's so true.
Oh, yeah. He always
like-
did about a high school.
It's like when the Globetrotters, okay? I mean, if you did the Globetrotters, and then they'd be at Linden High School on a Thursday, and they'd do the Garden Friday. God, those Goodwill games lost so much money too, but he was committed to them.
Well, he lost when Time Warner merged and then the stock dropped. He was like the biggest shareholder. I mean, the guy lost and gained fortunes. I mean, it is pretty remarkable when you look at his money flow, if you will, of his life. I mean, it's truly impressive to keep going back at it and then winning again. I mean, I've only done that place like once or twice because I don't like Denver, and if it's probably changed, I just didn't like the vibe of it.
I went there one time. The food was excellent. It had no atmosphere, but the food was excellent.
That was my problem with it. If I remember right, really tall wooden booths, and it just didn't have any vibe to it.
Joe Torre, and then I believe Chuck Tanner before Bobby Cox.
And come on, there was only one thing to watch while watching Braves games, and that was Leo Mazzoni rocking on the bench. It ain't happening, Sonny. He ain't getting in, period.
No, he's not. Even the Veterans Committee, I think he got like 4 votes. Needed what? 12, 13, something like that.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Steve Carney in an hour. Tim Brando in 2 hours on Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X on this first Thursday of May.
You know, just one quick thing before you do your thing. I'll go fast. I worked in Atlanta for a time. I worked in the Omni. It was one of my thrills of my life that I had keys to the Omni. For a guy that used to break into Swan Valley High School to play basketball with his buddies and set the doors. And we didn't do anything bad. We just played hoop. It was cold. It was Michigan. To be able to walk into the Omni with a key was always kind of ironic to me. But the Omni Center, which was right next to the Omni, where CNN was headquartered, is where we would have lunch every day. There was a food court there and a couple of restaurants. And I would always remember going to the Chinese restaurant in the Omni Center. And if you went on the, second Thursday of the month, that was payday for the wrestlers. And they all went to the Chinese place. And it was the wildest thing to be sitting there having lunch. And there would be 20 gigantic men, of which most of them, and seeing Jimmy Superfly Snuka sitting down with General Tso's chicken was just always one of those things that made me smile.
I just wanted to also add, in the 80s, now I graduated high school in 83, but throughout the 80s, the best thing about being in college for a sports goober like me was you had two superstations, GN and TBS. Well, the Cubs would play in the afternoon and the Braves would play at night. And I was a National League guy. And remember, we only had two divisions at the time, and the Cubs were in the East and the Braves were in the West. And between the two teams and the two stations, Mark, I saw the whole damn National League every year. I loved it.
And as someone who was able to see all the Tiger games, because, you know, not, and even at the early 80s, not everything was yet on cable. There wasn't the, you know, regional cables. We're only having selected games at that point. I ran home from school to watch the Cubs, and I'm the same way. And then you would watch the Braves. When the Braves became America's team, I remember watching that streak in that season with my father. Like, I truly remember Bob Horner at third, man. I mean, we watched that.
I can't believe I was sitting here during the break going Chris Chambliss at first, Glenn Hubbard at second. I think it was Rafael Ramirez at short, Horner at third, Murphy, you know, center or right. But, you know, I think in the beginning of the decade, he was the center fielder. And I'm just going through, I think Claudel Washington had a corner outfield spot for a couple years. And I'm just sitting here going, Biff Pocoroba behind the plate. Okay. Just like I could go through Cubs teams too, and not just the 84 team either. All right. Anyway, I don't know. Ted Turner. Wow.
And then you don't even get into CNN. And I know, because, you know, where I am now, they hate CNN. But just for just a moment with me, if you could, folks. Going folks here, David.
I was going to say, just a little name.
Remember when it started in two things. One was CNN. When blank went down, we went to CNN.
And believe it or not, we still do.
But the other one was headline news.
Yep.
Earl Van Wright. Headline sports.
Or Van Earl Wright.
Van Earl Wright. Sorry.
Yep. Van
Earl Wright.
Headline sports.
And what was it, 27 and 57?
Yep. And God forbid you missed it. Okay?
Right. There was, 60 to 90-second stops. That's all you got. And I know we don't like CNN anymore, and headline news is completely different. But before all of the cable news channels, before Fox News and before MSNBC, whatever side you're on, I don't give a damn. CNN was it, man.
Well, like you said, he does CNN. Everybody thinks he's lost his flipping mind. 24/7 news. He doubles down with headline news for 24/7. Yeah, remember, ESPN didn't go ESPN2 till like 94.
Little bit No, you're right. Yeah, because I was in Atlanta when they did it. I remember doing something for ESPN2. We went to an event because we worked for the hockey team.
I mean, see, ESPN was nearly 15 years old before they added ESPN2.
But I mean, I don't know, this little war and Wolf Blitzer covering it live.
Bernard Shaw and David Arnett. Okay, live. George Bush, the president, is watching the war on CNN.
Uh-huh. I was in college. I remember the next day I had a test, and the professor says, well, you like me were probably watching CNN all night. Brokaw, as a matter of fact, I was.
Tom Brokaw, live on NBC, said, well, that little engine that could out of Atlanta is kicking all our butts tonight. Anyway, time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
And as we've mentioned, Ted Turner passing away at the age of 77 or 87, excuse me. To call him a giant in 20th century media may not be doing him justice. Okay. Won a World Series as owner of the Braves. Own the Hawks. Won the America's Cup as captain. The Goodwill Games. Ted Turner, 87, died at his home in Florida. NBA, Knicks go up 2-0. It wasn't super impressive, especially since no Joel Embiid for the Sixers because of injuries. That bears watching. Brunson and Maxey each had 26 to cancel each other out. OG Anunoby was probably the difference. He had 24 points, although he left the game with 2.5 minutes to go, hobbled off the court, and did not return. That bears watching, because the reason the Knicks have suddenly looked like the best team in the East is OG Anunoby. So that's worth paying attention to. Knicks outscored the Sixers 19-12 in the decisive fourth quarter to lead that series 2-0. Spurs, after losing a close game 1, humiliated the T-Wolves 133-95, worst playoff loss for Minnesota ever. Series tied at 1. Wemby with 19 points, 15 rebounds in the rout. Couple of game 2s tonight. In Cleveland, tie things up in Detroit. And can the Lakers make it a series against Oklahoma City? Mark, the point spreads for game 2 are the exact same as they were for game 1. Pistons by 3.5, Thunder by 15.5.
Getting lazy in Vegas, you guys.
7 and 9:30 on Amazon Prime. NHL. Sabres got 2 power play goals. They had scored 1 power play goal the entire month of April, regular season and playoffs. And they got both power play goals from their second unit. Buffalo 4-2 over Montreal to win game 1 of that series. Meanwhile, Anaheim evened their series at 1 with Vegas. They scored 2 in the third. The shutout got ruined, Mark, with 6 seconds to go. Mark Stone on a power play. Vegas's only goal. Anaheim wins it 3-1 to even the series. Game 3 tonight in Philly. Flyers lost a heartbreaker in overtime in game 2. The Hurricanes are 6-0 in the playoffs. And they make it 7, 8 o'clock tonight, TNT.
We knocked the Ducks jerseys quite a lot, David. Those Golden Knight jerseys aren't much better. I'm just saying.
What can Brown do for you? Answer, not much when it comes to uniforms. Just want to throw this out there. Game 1, Philly, Carolina on ABC, $2.5 million. Doesn't sound like a lot. Most viewed second round game on ABC ever. Flyers, Hurricanes.
Right.
That's okay.
This whole thing that they did called the Olympics worked.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary Bettman.
Gary, you owe these players an apology.
Yes, you
a
do.
Letter, something.
Yep.
A canned ham. I don't give a damn. You owe them something.
Meanwhile, game 2, which was on what? Tuesday night? Monday or Tuesday night? Game 2 on ESPN. The overtime game. 2.35 million. The most watched second round game ever on cable. At least that early in a series. Okay. This, ladies and gentlemen, shows the Flyers too. Okay. Flyers had been dormant the whole decade. Flyers have some fans. And they're showing up. Game 3 tonight in Philly. One other NHL note, the salary cap is going to increase by $8.5 million. It's a hard cap league. That's significant. Remember, this league after COVID went 3 or 4 years in a row in which the cap didn't go up. Now it's going up by another $8.5 million. Baseball. The Rays have won 12 of 13. They're a half a game out of first, for goodness sakes. Shane McClanahan's scoreless streak is now nearly 17 innings. Tampa Bay 3 spit over the Jays. Speaking of the Yankees, they finally lost. Nathan Eovaldi is their kryptonite, man. Twice in a week, he has absolutely shut him down. He took a shutout into the ninth before Judge homered. Texas beat the Yankees 6-1. Red Sox swept the Tigers. Sonny Gray, 6 shutout innings. Boston 4-0. Guardians are in first. They snap a 5-game win streak for the Royals and beat them 3-1. Man, what a tough homestand it's been for the Marlins. I mean, they go to L.A., take 2 or 3 from the Dodgers, come home, lose 3 or 4 to the Phillies. Now they've lost the first 2 to the Orioles. Alonso with a 3-run homer. Marlins lose 7-4. Has anybody seen the attendance the last 3 nights for the Marlins games? Oh, my goodness. Mark, they barely have attracted 20,000 fans for the 3 games. The last 2 nights, the games attracted 6,600 and 6,607. Wow. Seattle beat the Braves 3-1. First series loss for the Braves this year. They'll get an off day, and then they'll play the Dodgers. Ooh, little NLCS preview. Mets have won 4 of 5. What the hell's going on? Soto and Simeon with homers. They doubled up Colorado 10-5. I love the fact they had to move Tuesday's game up 4 hours because of an incoming snowstorm, and then they delayed this game 6 hours to remove the snow. Just remember, this is baseball in May. Hello. This managerial change has sure worked in the short term. Phillies have won 7 of 8. They scored 4 in the 8th, beat the A's 6-3. Washington got a slam and 5 RBIs from C.J. Abrams. They beat the Twins 15-2. Man, the Reds need a rain out. They score 4 in the 9th to take a 2-run lead on the Cubs. Pete Crow Armstrong hits a 2-run homer to tie it. And then the Cubs, on a walk off the Reds for the 3rd straight game, 7-6-10. Reds were in first place last Friday. They're 5 back, not even a week later. Skeens threw a 2-hitter for 8 innings. Pirates beat the Diamondbacks 1-0. Andy Pajas with 3 homers for the Dodgers, 12-2 over Houston. Padres, 5-1 over the Giants. Angels, 8-2 over the White Sox. And Milwaukee beat St. Louis 6-2. PGA Tour, they're at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Rory loves this course. He's playing. It's a signature event, right after a signature event, and right before the PGA. Scheffler's not playing this week. He's taking it off. And at 8 minutes before the hour mark, that was starting 5. 5 big stories you needed to know here on Miller and Moulton.
By the way, 2 is the number of teams above 500 in the American League. 2.
Meanwhile, is the whole NL Central still above 500? I think it is,
David. Yes.
Even with the Reds losing streak, I think they're still above 500.
Yeah, 3 games above 500.
Right.
They're in last place, tied with the Pirates, 3 games above 500. Brewers are also 3 games above 500. They've played a couple less. But the Cubs now have a 3.5 game lead over the Cards and 5 over everyone else. They've figured it out. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. floormeisters.com. CCC
The
1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller & Moulton.
I have to laugh for you guys talking about the underground. I know for events, it's a place to go. I lived in Atlanta. No one went near the underground. I was there once in the 18 months I lived there, and that was for that ESPN2 event. And we all laughed as to why are we going down here for this? Now, I know it's changed because I actually did read it's got a vibe, but it's a very urban vibe. And I don't see the people who said they went to the underground being, super urban hip dudes, but maybe you are. But that wasn't really when I lived in Atlanta, and I know Buckhead's not nearly what it used to be. I know that's not good, but you had Midtown, which was amazing. In Atlanta, it was a lot more than, the underground was not somewhere that people went. Ever. But I was a Virginia Highlands and Little 5 Points guy because that's where the live music was.
Okay, Johnny, once again, it's all you do. I said Cleveland snapped the Royals' 5-game winning streak. I didn't mention anything about Cleveland's losing streak. But once again, that's all you do when you comment, is you criticize or correct us. And in this case, you're effing wrong. So why don't you sit back and enjoy the show instead of picking it apart? Snaps 5-game Royal win streak. Right there. Right there. No, Spitz. No.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday of May. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Steve Carney later this hour. Red Hot Rays. And where do the Lightning go from here? And let's talk about what was said on Clean Out the Locker Day, shall we? And Tim Brando in about 90 minutes' time. He was hired by Ted Turner. He worked for TBS. He's got a World Series ring because of it. Says he's got a Ted Turner story. We're going to let him tell it. Then we'll see if we can cover any more ground.
If we do, it'll be about college football's playoff.
Right.
We already know the 2 questions we are going to ask.
Right.
We won't get more than that in. Not a chance. And
But
it's
it'll
the
be worth
longest segment of the show.
Right. That's why I booked it.
Exactly.
I even told them that. I said, you know, you allow for music and my intro and what have you. I go, you'll have 15 minutes. I go, we're hoping for 2 questions. He laughed. He knows. He knows he talks a lot. I mean, listen, if you're going to talk for a living, might as well talk a lot.
And especially if you're a play-by-play guy.
Right.
You know, if you're the analyst, you can leave the play-by-play guy hanging a few times with a couple of one-sentence answers. You can. Play-by-play guy, you got to go.
So, Steve Carney and Timmy B coming up on the show. I hesitate to bring something up.
Why?
I hesitate because I know you'll love it.
Oh, come on, let's go. I know where you're going then. I got an idea. Give it to me. Come on.
I really,
dive into the deep end, David. You can do it.
Listen, you know I'm very fond of you, okay? And I am overjoyed at how well things seemingly are going for you and your health, and I'm very fond of your family. And normally I like to make you happy if I can. But you're a little too giddy about this topic, and I just don't know if I should feed the beast any more than the beast has already been fed.
Oh, come on.
Oh, man, I really don't want to. Did you hear the rumor that Diana Rossini may do 60 Minutes?
Is that the right place to go for her? Now, they're not as hardcore as they used to be.
Now, first off, can we just stop? I can't believe 60 Minutes is going there.
That does tell you a lot. I mean,
If
you-
it happens,
Right.
I think I'm far more surprised, okay, that 60 Minutes didn't Chuck just laugh, okay, when Rossini and her reps called them. Okay, wait a minute. Or did they call Rossini? I'm just, but
Well, a couple of things here. One, I mean, I still think of 60 Minutes as giving us great behind the scenes news, teaching us about things we didn't know. A controversy. They dug something up, not Celestialist, but something about whether, an arms deal that we didn't know about. I mean, something that's news.
I will say Scott Pelley sat down 2 weeks ago with Ben Sass, the former president of the University of Florida, former Missouri senator who's dying, and did the best 40-minute interview I've seen this century. It was amazing. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It's not about, it is about politics, but he doesn't get very political. Okay, but obviously they talk about life, since this is a dying man in his early 50s. Scott Pelley, Ben Sass, 40 minutes. I swear it's worth it.
So I'm going to let Sonny in our YouTube chat room ask the first question. Who gets the interview? It's a great question. I mean, is this Nora? Because Nora's interviewed presidents for crime. She's just interviewed Trump like a week ago, for crying out loud.
She's interviewed popes.
Right.
Yeah. Don't know. I don't know.
And because we don't seem to press important people with follow-up questions. Are we, not that she's an important person, because she's not.
No.
She's an NFL insider. I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, she's a nobody. And I don't mean that in a bad way. We're nobodies. David and I are far more nobodies than she ever was. She had a national platform.
Right. I mean, if Adam Schefter quit today, I think the world would just continue to rotate the way it always has.
I mean, Woj was the number one guy in the NBA. He left. We replaced him with Shams, and no one seemed to give a damn. Right. It's not that important. It's sports. You guys are listening because you don't want to deal with the other crap. You are. It's why David and I made a decision nearly 20 years ago. We don't go politics on this show. We don't. You don't want our opinions on it.
No. Plenty of places for that.
Yeah. The only thing that I miss about David and I doing the show on YouTube and Twitch, youtube.com/Miller and Moulton, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, is that you all get to hang out with us during the commercial breaks. David and I did some fascinating 5 to 7 minute political shows during commercial breaks when we sat next to one another. I don't pay any attention anymore. David still does. David got mad at me, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and he said, "Would you turn off this?" And I did. It's been great.
I just told him, stop watching the news. He was miserable. Come in every day. He was more miserable than, as the week went on, he got more miserable. I finally yelled at him during a commercial break. Stop watching the news.
And I listened, which I don't normally do to David. It's the best advice he ever gave me. Now I watch sports and music, and I'm much happier. So I'm not trying to knock her in that respect, but in the grand scheme of things, an NFL insider means squadoosh. But the story keeps getting legs, much to the chagrin of one David Moulton.
I hate it. I absolutely hate it. That's why when I saw and heard this, I went, "Oh, come on! It's hours away from dying. What are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we doing this? Why are they doing this? There's 60 blanking minutes. Come on, you guys have some standards. You're gonna do the Vrabel Rossini story?" Ah, this isn't Bill Clinton, Jennifer Flowers, for goodness
Right.
sakes. That guy was running for president.
Right.
This wasn't Gary Hart, Donna Rice. Same thing. Ah,
But David, I'm going to guess here, if it does air, it will do extremely well. Because 60 Minutes already does pretty well for a network television show. There aren't many network television shows that are non-sports that get a rating. That's
funny.
one that does.
It's funny. Those folks at 60 Minutes, okay, they must turn around because CBS News, their ratings have never been lower. Worst literally in the history of the network. 60 Minutes, they're doing just fine. Just fine.
Part of me right now is thinking back before Summerall and Madden moved to Fox and did the promos for The Simpsons.
Coming
Because
later
what
tonight.
you got from Summerall during the Cowboys game at 4:30, or actually, I'm sorry, they were doing NBC, their CNN or CBS was doing the NFC. So after the Cowboys game at 4:30, what was he telling you to watch?
60 Minutes.
After the game, 60 Minutes.
Followed by
Murder, She Wrote. I think that was at 9, but I think there was something in between. But yes, David. So in my head, I have Summerall doing the promo tonight on 60 Minutes. Diana Rossini sits down with Nora O'Donnell. And thank you, Ryan, except on the West Coast. Great point. So, following your local news.
By the way, 60 Minutes at 7. Because also, Mark, the late game didn't start at 4:30. Late game started at 4:05. Okay. I mean, remember, we were squeezing these games in under 3 hours. Okay. Then the late game was ending at 7. It was 7 so that Berman and Jackson could start their highlight show. They contractually couldn't show highlights until they were done. But 7 o'clock, 60 Minutes, 8 o'clock, Murder, She Wrote, and then followed by the CBS Sunday night movie, Gone with the Wind.
So that's where I am right now. I can't even get into the interview. I'm lost in the promo, unfortunately, David. I'm just lost in the promo.
But I do great. Could you imagine if it's this weekend? Nance from Quail Hollow would have to do, and don't forget, coming up on 60 Minutes, pick a correspondent. Scott Pelley sits down with Diana Rossini. Then what do they say after that? To talk about her years-long affair with Mike Vrabel? I mean, how are they hyping this?
I think you just end it there. That's it, David. In fact, I think Nance might not read the entire card. And I know that it's a card because I've sat in the booth and watched Vern read cards, okay?
Yep. Unbelievable. I will say this, though. I could see where she's like, so his career's fine. He's getting standing ovations everywhere he goes.
All of his players are supporting him. Drake May just came out, said he's a great man, great coach.
Right. And I'm a whore, and I've lost my career.
But,
okay.
All right, take the whore part out. Because, well, I'll just leave it at that. But no, there have been very few people that have been out there trying to save her career, including her friends, David.
I think it's because they know that there's a lot going on with a lot of other people.
Well, then none of them have the guts to say it. The only one that said it is the woman that used to be doing on ESPN. She says, I know where the bodies are buried. Miller and Moulton.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332516.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I agree with that, Javier. I think that's spot on. I think it's Norn. I can't remember. I'm terrible with names. They've got the one woman who's done it for a long time. That it would be one of those two. I can see your face. I just couldn't tell you her name if you put a gun to my head. That's a part of my charm. But I do think that you're right, that it would be a woman that'll interview her. Oh, there's Connie Chung, but there's another one. And Connie Chung's Asian. There's a older, that might be it. There you go. I think that's the one. DC. Leslie Stahl, that makes sense when you say the name. But yeah, I haven't watched 60 Minutes in years. And I laugh, Left Twix, you said, don't watch CNN or MSNBC. Do you really think Fox News tells the truth? I mean, come on. You can be as right gets. Do you really believe that? I mean, come on.
At least be willing to admit the truth. It's all propaganda.
Every bit of it. Every bit of it. I actually found an app that I use from time to time. It's not as good as I thought it was, but it's not horrible. The app is all sides. They literally have a story, what the right is saying, what center is saying, what the left is saying. And they, to me, don't have enough news, so that's why I don't like it. But I'm like, all right. I actually think when you watch, the few times I've watched, I don't even know what it's called anymore, but it used to be the News Hour with McNeil Lear or whatever it was on
PBS. Yeah,
they would do the same thing. They would have a correspondent from one side, a correspondent from the other. It's like, okay, that's fine by me. And more times than not, I watch Comedy Central on Mondays and see what Jon Stewart says so I can get a laugh out of the whole damn thing. Because it's funny.
It is. Funny is funny.
I mean, when he did the Trump Jesus picture and focused on the guy that looked like him, I don't care if you think that Trump thought he was a doctor or Trump thought he was Jesus. I don't give a damn. I don't. Jon Stewart spent 5 minutes focusing on the guy because it looked like him.
It did.
I didn't know that I was that close to being a leper. I mean, come on. That's a funny line.
I didn't know Trump cared that much about me. I'm going to feel differently about him going forward. I mean, golly. Every now and then I'll listen to BBC.
I've done that before too. It's been a while. But I mean,
I'm just curious.
When my mother was in, my mother was just beside herself having to be my caretaker because I wouldn't put it on. And I know she wants it. She just can't get it on fast enough.
Right.
Strahan works for ABC and Good Morning America.
I don't know, Leftwix. I don't think we have the gravitas to get the president on our show. And trust me, if he were willing to come on, we'd take him. If the guy before him was willing to come on, we'd take him. Do you know why? Because it's the president.
We have actually tried during the years that we've been together, and we've always gone through the Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
We have tried to get every single commander-in-chief, at least during our first 10-year run together. We tried every year.
It's not done yet, Dratharian. It's being talked about. I just like the fact that when I'm in my own studio, I know that the internet's going to be rock solid throughout the show.
Well, then I like it too.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Steve Carney to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. The Rays are never losing again. And the Lightning are never winning another playoff series again. My guess is neither is true, but it just feels that way right now. We're bringing Steve on to talk about both extremes coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. When you get beat by a team, do you want that team who, for the most part, you don't give a damn about? I mean, I don't think Lightning fans have a feeling one way or the other about the Canadians. Okay. Do you want that team to like go on a long run? Or do you want that team to like get beat as quickly as possible in the next round?
David, honestly, that's a great question. And I think it depends. Like, I think it depends. I don't know. Part of me believes that the Lightning fan, and Lightning fan 21,000, Pelican Roofing of Florida text line, Twitch and YouTube, you know what you're doing. I would love to hear from Lightning fan on this because I am a Lightning fan, but I'm a Red Wing fan first. But I like the Lightning a lot. I do. I'm rooting hard for Buffalo, and I mean hard.
Is that just because of they hadn't made the playoffs in 16 years? It's a sports city. It's a phenomenal hockey city. I mean, is this the sentimental part of Mark Miller?
Is there one of those?
Well, I don't know. It's why I asked, and I asked it in a similar tone as that line in the script. San Diego.
I think it is, believe it or not, because David, Buffalo for years continued to watch hockey, even when they sucked.
Yep.
When the ratings came out of the markets that watched hockey, Buffalo didn't matter who was in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Nope.
Buffalo's up there. It's
a
great hockey city.
Yep.
And people associate that town with Bill's Mafia, and rightly so. They love hockey.
Yes, they do.
They love hockey. And to your point, it's a great sports city.
It is.
They don't have much there. I mean, but not just the teams, David. Is there anything, there are a lot of cities. Pittsburgh was the steel city. Buffalo, like most of those cities, lost a lot of their industry. What's Buffalo known for other than chicken wings? They're two sports teams. And the scene in Montreal is amazing.
Awesome.
It is amazing. Now, this is just me not being able to speak French. I prefer listening to the Canadian national anthem when it's in all English. I do. But what's going on with the Canadians and the crowds outside and the crowd that was at the Bell Center during Game 7, that's also great for hockey. But I guess because Brett Hall's foot's still in the damn crease.
Boy, you are a bit for a guy who doesn't give a damn in the big picture, really, about the Buffalo Sabres, for a Stanley Cup final that you didn't care about at all, okay, because the Wings were not involved. There is no Stanley Cup final that bothers you more than Dallas beating Buffalo in 99. You reference Brett Hall once a week.
David. All right. This is the catch, no catch rule that plagued football for a couple of seasons. In that season, simple questions, yes or no, are only the allowed answers, David.
Yes.
Every time someone's foot, toe, lace of their damn skate was in the blue, did they disallow the goal?
Yes, they did, Mark.
Until the Brett Hall goal, correct?
Right. But
That's all season long.
But there's
they
a simple
didn't allow
explanation.
a goal. The rule was becoming a rule. I mean,
No.
this is traveling in the NBA now.
No, there's a simple explanation. They didn't catch it in time. Okay? They didn't catch it in time. He scores. Okay? They win in overtime. And what happens? ESPN's cameras, their celebration. All right. And that for a couple of minutes. And we're not seeing the replay of the goal. That the NHL starts bringing everything out onto the ice. Okay, we're going to have a presentation, and then we're 4 or 5 minutes in, and all of a sudden it's like, holy blank, his foot's in the crease.
Well, first off, I just remember watching it, knowing live that his foot was in the crease. 2, the NHL is fixed like every other sport. They wanted Brett Hall and Dallas to win. They didn't give a damn about the Buffalo Sabres. I will advance that to 2026, that somehow, some way, after hiring a cheat and a moron, the Toronto Maple Leafs ironically get the first overall pick.
Do you know the Dallas Stars weren't even in existence for 10 years, for goodness
Right?
sakes.
They wanted the South to work. They wanted, look at what's happened to hockey in Texas after that. This is what the league need. They didn't need Buffalo to win. They needed Dallas to win. They knew his foot was in the crease. They didn't care.
Wow. Listen to you. I don't think I've ever heard this side of Mark Miller before. You sure this isn't affected by the sentimental Buffalo Sabres side to Mark Miller? You seem all over the map today. You okay?
I'm fine.
You all right?
I'm wonderful.
Okay, so just so you know, you're very sentimental right now, and you're very conspiracy driven.
2 things can be true at once.
They can. I'm just saying, okay, you're further. Okay, we were just talking about political extremes. I feel as if you have gone further to the left and further to the right on these 2 issues than you normally do. By the way, I don't know which issue is left and which is right, and I'm not going to go there.
Thank you.
So that's all. Okay, the middle seems wide open, is all I'm saying. Wide open.
What year was that?
99.
Okay. Part of that was also, I have a good friend who doesn't say a lot of good things about the guy that scored a goal. So I am anti that person.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I love that person.
Yeah, well, I know things. That's all I'll say. I think his podcast stuff that I've seen is hilarious.
Right. He's a beer drinker, tells great stories. I'm an Irish Catholic. What's there not to like?
I'll tell you later. Text line, I want Buffalo to beat Montreal. The Canadian fans are obnoxious. They remind me of Cowboy fans. I can't hate Martin St. Louis, but the team I do.
See, the last couple years, it's been easy. The Lightning have lost to the Panthers. They don't like the Panthers. So I know Lightning fan, they wanted the Panthers to get swept in the next round. I get it. I'm just curious, Whereas Lightning fan today, most of them don't give a damn about the Canadians. Okay. Have a soft spot for their head coach. Don't care about the franchise. And they probably don't have many feelings about the Buffalo Sabres either.
JDR Blue does bring up a great point. I did spill a milkshake yesterday.
Do you think that could still be affecting you?
I haven't had ice cream since.
Yeah,
I did get pizza.
I was going to say, but you had a 9 p.m. pizza.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It
It was really good, too.
Eh,
Bottom was almost a little burnt. Oh, man, was it good.
eh.
Another person on this Lightning thing, and this is a really strange analogy, but I want to read it. They win it all. So obviously this guy wants the Canadians to win it all. You regret that one goal. Your ex marries the guy that they left you for, or dates 5 others. That's a hell of an analogy, sir. So if your wife leaves you and marries the guy she leaves you for, it's okay. You just don't want her to become a pig.
Usually guys are okay if she marries the guy that she left them for, if that means they no longer have to pay. Otherwise, they hold a grudge till death. Steve Carney is next.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe. And your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Steve.
Good morning, gentlemen.
How are you?
I am fantastic.
How can you not be? I mean, I know one team's done, but the team that you maybe like more, they don't lose.
Yeah, they're and what's funny is that they're not great at anything other than being really, really annoying to pitchers. Like they don't give up an at bat. And sometimes that's all you need.
Puck, I don't think that would be bad. If the network's got Buffalo and Colorado, they'd be fine. In fact, I'll bet you that's the final that right now, and I don't know, is it the 4-letter network or the 3-letter network who has the cup this year? I think it's ESPN. I'll bet you they'd take a Buffalo Colorado final right now.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Tim Brando, 1 hour from now, to talk about Ted Turner. He worked for him for a few years. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. He's a Rays insider. Follow his work on Substack. He's part of the Lightning Radio Network. He's got his college football, Yards and Stripes podcast, Armed Services Football. He's a busy guy. Steve Carney. Follow him on X at Steve Carney, Carney. Before we get to the Red Hot Rays, who are never losing again, you've been around the Lightning, working with and for the Lightning for many, many years.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of a player dismiss publicly anything John Cooper has ever said, if not chastise John Cooper for saying it?
It's a good question. I can tell you that nobody in the current locker room does that.
Until Tuesday.
Until Tuesday. That's correct. I remember, and again, this was early on in John's tenure. There was a time that, Marty St. Louis was not on the same page as the front office and the coaching staff, and it's part of why Marty was sent to New York in the trade that everybody couldn't believe happened, because it came right after Marty got his silver stick for 1,000 games in the NHL. Like, it was hilarious. Like, Vinny LeCavalier got his 1,000 game stick, and he got let go, and then Marty got his, and then he got traded. But Marty, there was so much that was going on behind the scenes, from what I've been told, about what was going on with Marty St. Louis and the Lightning, that led to his departure. But that was like really the last time that I remember, some guys going, okay, maybe this guy, who is this guy? And a lot of it was, who is this guy? He's been down in Syracuse for, a couple of years. And before that, he was in the USHL. And, I know he's won a lot, but he hadn't won at this level yet. But yeah, up until, earlier this week, you would never hear a player in that room dismiss something that the coaching staff said. There's something John Cooper said. You didn't see that.
One of my takes on it, and it was very David Moulton-esque, because I got all this from a cutaway, basically. But after the game, Vasilevsky's at center ice waiting to shake hands, basically by himself for about 30 seconds. Then the team comes on, the handshake line comes. At the end of the line is the coach. It's John Cooper. He's yucking it up. He's got a smile on his face. He's hugging guys. He looked like, we got a game tomorrow. He did not look like a guy that lost in the first round for the fourth straight year.
Yes.
And to me, that, if Vasilevsky saw any of that, that looked like something that pissed him off. On top of what he said about the plane, was this completely directed at Cooper? Do you think it was directed at Kucherov? I mean, because he did criticize the offense and guys complain about the ice in between periods. So where do you think the criticism was really directed?
I think it's directed at all of the above. Knowing Vasi, the first person he's criticizing is himself. I laugh. I think of a saying that James Shields, the former Rays pitcher, used to have this giant sign in the Rays clubhouse. It says, if you don't like it, pitch better. And I know that Vasi almost subscribes to the same thing. If he's not happy, he needs to play better. And so I'm sure that the first part of that criticism is directed at himself, but then you also have to look at the fact that, it seems like Nikita Kucherov hasn't scored a goal in the playoffs since 2021. And Braden Point, his production is starting to, whether it's the injury or whatever, he certainly is slowing down. And so you look at it, I mean, what was the most effective line in this postseason? It was the Yanni Gourde, Dominic James line. And so I think it's really tough when your number one line of, Point and Kucherov and Cirelli aren't producing when you need them to. And I think that can be part of that. That's also part of that frustration. And then obviously if he saw, John Cooper yucking it up with the opposing team, and I'm sure that, for this round and going forward, you're going to see John Cooper on television now. I'm sure that'll probably stick in people's craws as well.
I asked Mark yesterday, and then we'll move on to the Rays. I asked Mark yesterday, do you believe the Lightning's window is still open? He said yes, but with some changes. Now, for what it's worth, Point, you can't move him for another year contractually. Vasilevsky's entering the final year of his contract. I would move him for what it's worth. But back to the question. Is the Lightning's Stanley Cup window still open?
I think it is, but it certainly is not open nearly as wide as it was, say, a year or two ago. And I think that it's getting tougher because, the Lightning have limited draft capital. You look at, these teams that are starting to get better. They've had all these draft picks. They've got a bunch of young players. Almost every one of Tampa Bay's, core players is on the wrong side of 30. I mean, Point is older than 30. Kucherov is going to be 33 before the start of the season. Yanni Gord's like 35. Vasi is even on the wrong side of that number. And so I think it's going to get a heck of a lot tougher for the Lightning to compete next year because everybody else is getting younger, and because of the Lightning's lack of draft capital, they're not.
The Panthers changed everything when they made the monster trade and sent Huberdeau to Calgary for Tkachuk. Vasi's got Kucherov's got 1 year left. He's 33. Going to be 33 before the season started. Everything you read all year long was they were looking to extend him. Then the playoffs come. And as you said, I know he had a goal, but it doesn't even seem like he did. So could something big happen this offseason?
Yes. Obviously that answer is yes. And if I'm the Lightning, you have to, if I'm Julien Brisebois, you have to take phone calls. And people that are going to, be interested in Nikita Kucherov. He's $9.5 million against the cap. Puckpedia.com. I looked the other day. They predict that the Lightning are going to have about $13.5 million in cap space. But you've got 6 guys that are unrestricted free agents that you have to replace with that $13.5 million. So I know most people go, well, you really only have one. You've got to figure out what's going to happen with Darren Radish. The other guys that are unrestricted free agents are Oliver Bjorkstrand and Mitchell Chaffee and Scott Sabrin. These are guys that I think that people would say, what, good riddance to them. But you still have to replace them on your 20. So, or you're 18 for your regular season. And so, now what do you do if you're trying to make a splash? And the only way to me to make that splash outside of signing Radish is you're going to have to move somebody.
Got to. And the Lightning have a bunch of players making between 8.5 and 9.5 in a year. Some they can move, some they can't. That seems to be the only flexibility that they have. He's Steve Carney. All right. Covers Lightning, covers the Rays, covers Armed Services Football with his Yards and Stripes podcast. Follow Steve on X at Steve Carney, Carney. Okay, 2 weeks ago, for what it's worth, Miller and Moulton are kicking around a segment on the Rays. And we go, they're averaging over 5 runs a game. And yet they were only 500. And we was like, where's the pitching? Well, since then, I think they've gotten everybody out. All right. Where did the pitching come from? Or was it always there? And the first month of the season, they were completely underachieving.
Well, not only that, David, but, Eric Neander is pulling the magic out of the hat because, they've obviously had not had Ryan Pepio all year, and they're not going to have Ryan Pepio all year. His replacement, Joe Boyle, goes down with an elbow issue. And now Steven Matz has gone down with elbow inflammation. And all of a sudden, here comes all these guys, we're going to start to stretch out Griffin Jacks, and we're going to bring up Jesse Schultens. And, I certainly see any of that coming. And so they've been, Rasmussen has been Rasmussen. McClanahan has returned to McClanahan form. And I think everything has just, followed that line in the sand. I think they've created that area, and so between McClanahan, Rasmussen, and what Nick Martinez has done here has been fantastic. But I think a lot of what we've also seen is they are turning all the batted balls into outs. In this stretch where they've won 12 of 13, they've only made 4 errors the entire time, and 3 of them came in one game. So I really think that they've really done a good job of making sure that they're not giving their opponents extra outs to work with, because that's when the runs against really come from, or come from your mistakes.
Not just one loss in the last 13, 10 wins in a row at home, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
This is just as simple as they had to get back to the Trop, right? I mean, home sweet home.
Yes, dome sweet dome, as we like to say, Mark. I think a lot can be said for the home cooking, and so I think it really helps, especially when you get the air conditioning units to start blowing in from left and right field.
Right.
That's always a plus, and then you turn them around when the team is batting in the bottom of the inning. Of course, I'm joking, but I really do think that a lot of it has to do with the fact that they're used to playing in that facility, and other teams just aren't.
I was going to say, were you going all Twins Metrodome on me here? Okay. Like, Mark just did a segment earlier about conspiracy stuff that he's buying into. I'm like, wait, now Steve Carney's getting in on the act? What the hell?
Dave Wills and I used to joke about it all the time when God bless Dave. I miss him so much, but we would joke about that like constantly. It just seems like they play so well, and that team is designed to play in that building. So that's why they do so well.
Since 08, they really have.
It's funny. Our old producer and I, David never knocked the Trop, but our old producer and I loved it because of what you just said. I'd always say it's a cool 71 degrees with that 1 mile an hour wind blowing out to right field out of the air conditioning units. It's being a Southwest Floridian, it's closer for us to get to St. Pete than it is to Tampa. It's an easy drive. It's easy to park. I mean, I hope more fans show up, but obviously, Steve, the building thing's still not done. What's the latest, if anything, you're hearing? I know the owner met with some of the councilmen or council people here individually recently. Is it closer in your estimation? Are you hearing anything positive?
Well, I can tell you that Tampa City Councilman Charlie Miranda definitely does not like the idea of tax money going towards a stadium, because he screamed about roads to Rays CEO Ken Babby this week. I still think the playbook is being done, on both sides. And so, I mean, we've seen this in Chicago, we've seen it in Seattle, we've seen it in San Francisco, we've seen it in Miami. The playbook is still being run. And so while the playbook is still being run, I still have an idea and a hope that building does get built.
Well, the team's doing all they can, for goodness sakes. We're coming down the stretch. It's vote time, and the team's a half a game out of first and the second best record in the American League. Steve Carney, as always, we appreciate your time and your insight. You look good. You sound good. Be well. Hope all is well with you and the family.
Everything is, David. Thank you so much. Good to see you guys.
Steve Carney. Follow him on X at Steve Carney, Carney. Tim Brando in 45 minutes to talk about Ted Turner on Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. FloorMeisters.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I think it's Empire. It's why I don't comment very often anymore because I don't quite know when I'm catching a comment in the chat room. But somebody said something about I'm not in favor of trading Vassie. I didn't know if you guys were talking about that because we never said trade Vassie. We talked about
I mentioned
trading.
it yesterday. I mentioned yesterday with his comments, would they ship him out? I didn't say they should. I just mentioned, would they?
We've talked about trading Kucherov. I know. He won a Pulitzer. A Pulitzer.
Pablo Torre?
Yes. I mean, Adam Silver is still going to try to completely sweep it all under the rug, but because he ain't David Stern.
Oh, and I don't think they'll actually get punished, Chetherian. This isn't even conspiracy theory out of me. I think multiple teams are doing things very similarly. I don't necessarily know how, but I wouldn't. I mean, do you really think that Ballmer came up with this all on his own?
Which is amazing to me. So they're not making enough money?
Here's the thing I'll leave you with on Twitch chat and YouTube chat that I probably will never say on air, but you never know. Did Diana and her husband have an understanding? We don't know what goes on in people's homes. I mean, since we're talking about Ted Turner, the line he had when he married Jade Fonda, and if she, basically, if she doesn't stay pretty, I'll get one that's even prettier. I mean, why can't women do it too? I know I've got the guy that keeps texting me because that whole JP Morgan story, the guy, because he sent me one, because first off, the post came out, they had some information that was all fabricated. Then the guy doubled down about a threesome. And now he hired the same lawyer that Epstein's accusers hired. Left Twix, you don't know what goes on in people's homes. You don't. There are many people out there that have, I don't know if open marriage is the word, but understandings. I mean, you think Sharon Moore's wife didn't know that he was banging the girl at the school? Come on. Come on.
Yeah, he was with that actress too.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
We are halfway home, at least in Jacksonville and Tampa, St. Pete. Final hour of the show. Punta Gorda, Port Charlotte, Venice, surrounding areas. The old stomping grounds in the 239. Live Oak, Lake City, surrounding areas. We are Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Tim Brando in about 35 minutes. He worked for Ted Turner for a few years. He told me he's got a great Ted Turner story. I said, would you tell it to us? He said, sure. The hope is after that, we can bring up another topic. We're not sure. We only have 15 minutes. Tim Brando in 35 minutes here on Miller and Moulton.
Looking forward to the story because I have no idea what it is.
I don't either. He didn't hint at it, nothing. He just said, I got a great Ted Turner story. I'm like, okay.
It's interesting because when I think of Ted Turner, I think of a million different things. Between CNN and Headline News and the Goodwill Games and the Braves and all of the things that he did.
Right.
But when you think of owners of teams that had rules changed because of them, there aren't many. I mean, Steinbrenner in baseball is the guy we all think of getting suspended and all of the things that went on. The fact that they had a 16-game losing streak, that Ted Turner had the manager fired and said, I can do better than that, and went behind the bench. And then baseball basically put a rule in so that no owner can ever do that again is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Commissioner Kuhn lost his mind. Just came out because he fired him in like mid-afternoon and managed the game at 7 o'clock. Well, it was a Braves game. So, Mark, what time was it?
7:05.
Right.
Or 7:35.
And Bowie Kuhn was like, wait, what? And as soon as the game was over, he said, yeah, you can't own a team and manage a team, which I have to admit.
Why?
Didn't Connie Mack do it? And do it forever. But for whatever reason, Bowie Kuhn had said things are different now. And he thought it was a bad look. And he shut it down. And so Ted had to hire somebody for the next day.
The best part of that is that Phil Niekro was pitching that night. And Phil Niekro asked Ted where he was batting in the lineup. And Ted looked at him and said, I don't know. I don't care. Where do you want to hit? First, second? We've lost 16 in a row. And Nick Rhodes just said, I think probably best if you put me at 9. I mean, it's my favorite Ted Turner story. I mean, because come on, all of us, we will never have the money to own a team. We won't. We know that. But wouldn't you want to do the same thing if you owned a team?
Well, I mean, Jera's owner and GM. And if you ask some of the coaches, they think he's trying to do some of that too.
Right. Well, and I only know it, I did minor league play-by-play for a lot of years. And I worked for the team in Southwest Florida, helped that team start up. And the guy who's the president and GM at that point was also one of the owners. He's not anymore, but he's still the president and GM. And in the first couple of years, the coach was an old school hockey guy. And it would drive that coach nuts when practice was going on. And the GM would sit in his office, which overlooked the entire rink. He called it the Ivory Tower. And I'd be down doing my thing in the locker room as a broadcaster after. And I spent a lot of time in the coach's office. And man, did it drive him nuts. Because it was the coach thought it was his team and his roster. And it mostly was until the GM said, I want this guy. And there wasn't a damn thing the coach could do about it.
Nope.
Not a damn thing.
Nope.
And so, to me, the guy I'm talking about that I worked for, it was his idea for the team. His and his alone. That team, that arena, none of that's there without him. It's all his. The name of the team, the whole kit and caboodle. He went to Pete Carmanos, who at that time owned the Carolina Hurricanes, who he had known because their kids played together and were both good hockey players. And they had an arena in the suburbs of Michigan where an OHL team played. He said, I want to build this, only bigger. I want to do it here. And I want to put him in this league. It was all his. We don't have any of that in the 239 without him.
Nope.
So if you want to go get this defenseman or that forward, hey, I don't know what to tell you, coach. That's his prerogative, man.
Yep.
And he's been successful more times than he hasn't. That's for certain.
He owns the team. He named the team. Hell, you're playing in the arena that he built.
You're damn right. And the other one that I loved more than anything is when the Dolphins played at Joe Robbie Stadium.
Right.
Who was the owner?
Joe Robbie.
And you know what he named the stadium? Joe Robbie. You know why? Because it was his.
Right. He built it.
I loved that.
Yep. We're quite into corporate sponsorships then, like we are now, but yep. Probably cost himself a few bucks for a few years, but he didn't care. He was good. Speaking of the Dolphins, it's funny. The schedule release is supposed to be next week.
Maybe.
There's rumors it could get pushed back another week. A lot of people are doing strength of schedule stuff now.
Right.
And the Dolphins supposedly have one of the 5 toughest schedules in the league. Last year, they had one of the 5 or 7 easiest and won 7 games. And they've blown up the roster since. So how many wins does that sound like?
Their over-under, I believe, is 4.5, 5.5, I think.
Well, if it's 5.5, we got to go under.
It's 4.5 or 5.5. I'm going to check right now because, and they don't want to win. They really don't. They can say they want to win, but they really don't.
No, they just want to play and develop players.
4.5 is their over-under.
Damn. Now that makes it much harder. I think I'd still lean under. We'll
The
see.
Jets is 5.5.
Jets have added some talent.
David, if they don't go over, he's fired. I know you're too.
Yeah.
If they don't go over, he's out of a job, right?
Yes. Minimum. Yes. Yes. In fact, I don't even know if 6-11 will be enough. I wonder if it has to get to 7. But yeah. Then again, if you're a Jets fan, are you really wanting to win games this year? First off, you're not married to the coach. And secondly, this is supposed to be a good quarterback draft class. Don't we want to be in the best position possible? And they've got 2 ones, don't they? I think they're lined up with 2 first-round picks in next year's draft also.
So it's a great point. I mean, I do think he's fired if it's under. But the Jets can't get attracted to a coach because they know that the longevity isn't there. There's no sense. But they, who's their quarterback?
Geno Smith.
Right.
Yep. I will say, I do believe we are going to find out this year with many different players and even a few coaches how messed up the situation was in Vegas last year. I was only around them one time. There was a huge disconnect on the coaching staff last year. Huge. And I think they ended up being one of the most poorly coached teams in the league. Pete put a bad staff together that unraveled.
Tough to see Pete go out like that because he's a great coach.
Well, and a borderline Hall of Fame coach.
Right.
You certainly don't want to go out like that. It's like George Seifert went out with Carolina 1-15. Right. George deserved better than that. But just throwing this out there, like I think like Genty, it's going to be a much more competent offensive line this year. I think
his yards after contact were good last year. He was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage more than any other running back in the league.
I believe over half his carries, he was hit at or behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
A more competent offensive scheme, particularly if Cousins is the quarterback for the first, say, 2-3 months of the season. I just think that things are going to be much better for certain players on offense for the Raiders. I also wonder, as bad as the Jets were last year, the Jets this year might be a better situation than the Raiders were last year for Geno Smith.
All right. Both the Raiders and the Jets are 5.5 for over-unders. Do you go over for either?
Boy, they were picking 1 and 2 in the draft for a reason.
I know. But you mentioned coaching staff was a mess for the Raiders. They obviously have improved their talent. It's a very tough division. I don't have the schedule in front of me. You already mentioned if the Dolphins have a tough schedule, that means the Jets do too. I know that they play the NFC North.
Even though the Raiders are playing in a tougher division, if I had to bet on one of the two reaching 6, I think I'd bet on Vegas. The thing I'm worried about, though, they pulled the plug on Cousins. They throw Mendoza in around Thanksgiving, and they do nothing but lose out.
Not to mention, my other Raider question for you is, does Crosby get moved at the deadline or before? Because if you're right about the Mendoza thing, wouldn't it make sense then to get rid of Crosby at the deadline?
Hell, I might have gotten rid of Crosby before the draft just because it fell apart with the Ravens. I mean, and besides, Mark, you made a good point. How many teams still missed out on their edge rusher? Quite a few. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It's way down the road, David, but there is a better than 50-50 chance I'm going to be taking 2 days off, and they are the Friday and Monday at the beginning of the NFL football season.
Okay.
The 9th and the 13th, I think it is. 10th and 13th of September.
Okay.
Just letting you know now. It's a better than 50-50 chance. I will know for certain on June the 24th.
Well, I got my 2 days off. I mean, I got Trent filling in. I got my 2 days off next month.
Okay, Trent's only going to be able to do 6 to 9 because he started his show and he tapes at 9, and the expectations is the live show is going to be 9 to 11.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine.
And I'm going to do what you did last year. I'm going to take a week in July.
As well you should.
Because I'm going to meet up with your wife and go see Bon Jovi.
Right. When is that?
I don't know.
It's the middle, it's the middle week because like July, I don't know, 6th or 7th, there's some country artist that my daughter likes. And I just was looking quickly of when and where this guy was playing. And he wasn't coming to Florida, but he goes to Pittsburgh like the Monday after the 4th. And I'm like, why don't you fly up, see your mom, take a couple days and take her to that show? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to Bon Jovi the next week. That ain't happening. All right. She's like, I can't do 2 weeks in a row. I'm like, that makes sense. I understand. Like, we didn't even tell it was just I get bored and start looking stuff up. But if something comes through for a friend of mine, he's doing something big in September. And
yeah. Right. You were talking about that.
Yeah. He's got a lot of things still have to happen, but
the docs gave you the thumbs up
that I can travel. Yeah. He doesn't really like the idea of me being at a party. He says I need to wear a mask. We'll see about all of that. But he says, if you're going to be hugging everybody, I don't like that. He goes, if you can stay away from hugs and handshakes and keep sanitizing. Like, I'll wear a mask on the plane. I've got no issue with that. That makes all the sense in the world. But if I'm at an outdoor event, I get that I don't have immunity right now and I'm being very smart. At the same time, babies didn't have immunity and we bring babies flipping everywhere. But this will be after my 6 month. By the way, that one shot in my left arm, my arm is killing me. I have all new respect for babies crying after getting vaccinations because my arm hurts. Got the bone marrow biopsy in my right hip and my left arm. I'm a mess.
I think the day that we have tickets for is the 14th of July. Don't know what day your wife has.
How many shows is he playing?
Well, originally it was like 6 or 7, and then I think he made it like 10. But I believe they're all at the Garden, and they're all in July, and that's it, supposedly.
You know, when you go see Sammy Hagar, Michael Anthony sings a lot of the songs. Who's going to sing the songs for him?
I know.
Because I watched that documentary with her on him, and I know he was trying the surgery, and maybe it worked, but he can't sing anymore.
Well, I believe that's why he's going out. I think he knows he can't,
right?
Do it.
By the way, the Raiders play the West and the NFC West and the AFC East.
So the irony is Jets Raiders could determine the over-under for both.
Yes. And Detroit comes to Miami. I hope it's in, time while I'll go see it. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Tim Brando scheduled to join us in a little more than 15 minutes time. He says he's got a really good Ted Turner story. He worked for him for a few years. Okay, let's hear it. And then if there's time remaining, we'll talk college football with Timmy B, who just got a contract extension, a multi-year extension from Fox.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Keep it on, man.
Yeah. Hey, you get in this business, could end at any time. So,
no doubt. But he's getting up there. I'm not knocking him.
No.
He's not a young man, and Fox always seemed to be a little younger on the play-by-play side. So good for him. I think that's terrific.
Although they let Dick Stockton go for as long as he wanted, and I think Timmy B's in his late 60s. He jokes about still dyeing his hair. He doesn't, obviously he's not hiding it, but, he jokes about still doing it.
Good to have hair to dye. We'll see what color this is when it comes back, Dave.
Going to say, at least, hey, it's coming back. I'm curious because your hair, you had very, very straight hair. So I'm curious if that's what comes back or if there's some waves and some curl to it.
If I get curls, it'll be so great. I can't even begin to tell you. It is just, I may never cut it. It's going to be Minnesota high school hockey hair from the late 80s. I'm just telling you.
So are you going like the gel with the curls, or are you thinking mullet?
Oh, mullet.
Oh,
mullet.
You
got to remember, my wife likes all that 80s hair metal.
I know she does.
It's going to bother her. This facial hair I have going, she despises, which is why I have it.
Mother, I know. I love that part of your relationship with your wife and daughter. They both hate you with any facial hair whatsoever. So when there are reasons why you have to grow it, you grow it out for as long as you can. Unfortunately, you and I both know this is ending Sunday morning because it's Mother's Day.
Right, because I have the goatee right now, and the gray is really coming in on anything on the bottom. The top is dark.
Right.
And it's thicker than it used to be. It's the one thing, whether it's the chemo, whether it's the transplant, I don't know. But my mustache is thicker than it was pre-cancer.
Interesting.
So there's a good, well, first off, that's going to stay for a couple of days to really upset them, because I asked the wife, all of it or just the top? And she's like, well, neither. I said, well, you're not getting that. So which one do you want? All of it or just the top? She goes, if you're going to do this, all of it. So for a couple of days, we're going to, and I've got a tea time Friday. I'm going full on bad mustache for golf on Friday.
So you're trying to get as close to Al Roboski as you can?
Mad Hungarian. Love me a good closer with a mustache. Of all the fashion things that have come back, though, it is amazing because the mustache was abused by people, men, women. Tom Selleck had the great mustache. There aren't 5 other people that could wear a mustache. Like we were talking minor league hockey. PK O'Hanley, who was our assistant coach, great guy. PK wore a mustache. He even went to the goatee because the mustache just got abused. And in the last, 5 years, the mustache has made a tremendous comeback.
Yes.
I mean, all of the baseball players that are going mustache, some of the hockey players are doing it. I mean, and every time my wife and I watch a game and she sees that, she's like, do they really think that looks good?
And have you explained to her by now, honey, it has nothing to do with looks. This is a playoff tradition thing.
But the baseball players aren't doing it for the playoffs. They're doing it in June. And the hockey players let the beard grow in the playoffs. I mean, they're doing the mustache year round.
They are.
The mustache, it's not a playoff thing, Dave. It's made a comeback, and I don't really get it, but I think it's hilarious.
Did you politely, as gentle as possible, explain to your wife in what limited experience you have around hockey players, albeit almost all of them at the minor league level, honey, they do very well for themselves, whether they have facial hair or not.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I think it is. I think that locker room talk is just that. It's part of the reason why I still like playing golf with my guys, that, there's 20 of us and we can still cut it up and rip on one another. Because even though I wasn't a player, I spent all that time on the buses, all that time in the locker room with these guys. I only know a certain way, and it's not the way of the world anymore. It's not. No, the way that I hang out and talk to guys, you can't do that anymore. And I'm well aware of that. I am. My dad was always famous for saying there was, he worked in the factory. There was words you said in the factory that you didn't say at home. And he always lived that way. And what goes on in the locker room does not go on in society. But I think these players, at least I believe from the way I know players, are going, oh, this looks awful. I'm going with this. I'm doing this just to see what I can get away with.
And you get a good supportive woman, she may heckle you the whole time, but, she doesn't force you to get rid of it. It's
Right.
not like when you're lying in bed, it's not like she's shaving it for you.
Right. And look at, like Brian says, my wife doesn't care if I have a beard. I did not once say beard, Brian. I want you and everybody else to understand. Beards I get. Beards have become very much fashionable. Long, scraggly beards were and I think they still are a little bit, but I mean, guys can wear full facial hair that they didn't wear 20 years ago. Hell, you can do it on TV now. I mean, that was never allowed. The fact that Biz always has an unshaven look when he's on TV, you couldn't get away with that 10 years ago.
Well, and I can tell you the 2 things that really changed facial hair in America. The Red Sox, in 2004, and all the Duck Dynasty type shows. And all of a sudden, American society determined, yeah, this is fine. In fact, maybe I kind of like it. And it changed everything. I remember Joe Buck, when I was first around him, completely clean shaven. It wasn't even a thought. And then I remember, we got into the 2020s and he did a game for Fox one time. And I said, you going to shave? Because he had 3 days growth.
The Miami Wham, as Paul Schaefer used to call it.
Right. And he said, no. And I go, really? I don't think I've ever seen you do a game like this. And he goes, oh, I've done a few. And you know, whether it's, you know, we've gone back and forth with, do we need to wear a tie? Do we not need to wear a tie? Can you get away with the jacket over, the open collar? But, now in terms of facial hair, yeah, you can go scruffy. I was told point blank by a consultant in the late 90s, I had a mustache and my career was not going the way I had hoped. And a consultant told me, it's because of your mustache. You need to shave it. I went, oh, come on. He said, no, it's actually a decent mustache. He goes, I don't know any news director hiring anchors with a mustache.
There was an old adage that people with facial hair couldn't be trusted, David. There was. I mean, that.
Yeah. But I will say, our main anchor in Fargo at the time, he had a mustache. And it was a pretty good one, too.
But he probably didn't want to leave Fargo, did he?
No, he was the North Dakotan.
Right.
Right. Yeah, he never left.
There you go. But hey, I look at the porn stash and baseball's back. That's all I'm saying. Do I think it looks good? No, but I give them all the respect. Do what you want to do. Like I'm not a big fan of the scraggly beard. The mustache cracks me up. It does. But do you, man? I don't care. Al Hrabowski looked great. Especially in those Royals days.
I keep waiting for Liv to make Skeen shave that just Ron Jeremy that he's got. But when, you can pitch like him, even she's like, yeah, keep it. What the heck?
Miller and Moulton. Tim Brando to talk Ted Turner and possibly college football. I don't know if we'll have enough time. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Timmy B just texted me to say he's up and raring to go. I gave him the whole lay of the land.
All right. I will call him shortly.
So Sonny, Dwayne Stats with the fro and the stash forever. he didn't care. Although I think he had to lose the stash when he did Yankees games. But he had the fro. Yeah, Judge got Hal a couple years ago to lighten up on the facial hair with the Yankees.
The heck, let's get working here.
Oh, yeah. He was on the Yankees.
Yeah, you could have a stash. You couldn't have a beard.
Correct.
I think it had a stash.
Uh-huh. I think it was a couple years ago, Go Raiders. Judge went to Hal personally and said, man, this is the thing. This is hurting us. Some players don't want to play here because of it.
Empire, I went goatee for a long time. Then I went with just the soul patch for a while. And then that turned gray. And I'm like, well, I'll be damned. We're not doing that anymore. Yeah, that's right. Guidry, of course he had one. Louisiana Lightning. Bless you.
Love Louisiana Lightning. He was 160 pounds, dripping wet.
Mm-hmm.
And pitched like a bulldog. Said, I got 2 pitches. Here they are. I'm coming at you all day.
All right.
Throwing one hard, one harder.
Right to voicemail. Tim, Mark Miller had you. It's going right to voicemail, like not even ringing.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. As we mentioned moments ago, he just re-upped for another few years with Fox Sports. He's Tim Brando. You can follow him on X at, Tim Brando. Tim, it's David and Mark, Miller and Moulton. Thanks for doing this. So I reached out to you yesterday because I knew that you had worked for Turner in the 90s. Braves, Hawks, college sports, had a World Series ring, the whole deal. And you said, I got a great Ted Turner story. Well, lay it on us.
Well, he really was a larger than life but regular guy figure in Atlanta. And David, I got to tell you that my experience there, albeit short, I was only there for 3 years, and went there while I was doing those Jefferson Pilot football games, those early window SEC games. So I told them I want to continue to do that. And they were like, it's not a problem. So I was doing those games for Raycom. I was still doing some ACC and SEC ball games for them. But I went there primarily to do the basketball, and the Braves thing came along quite by accident. The Goodwill games were really kicking at that time. Ted had come up with this idea about having his own version of the Olympics, and because of the Russians not participating, in past Olympics, he thought that he could create, and he did. I mean, he pulled it off. Everything that Ted Turner wanted to pull off, he pulled off. But when you met him, David, he was just the most regular, unassuming. You'd never know that he was a gazillionaire, entrepreneurial guy, or that he had been Mr. America's Cup. I first came across him with America's Cup. If you recall, when ESPN really got it going in the 80s, one of the biggest deals they had was in 1987, which was at about the time I was in Bristol, had just moved up there in 86, with the America's Cup, when we had to go and take care of the Kiwis, and people discovered ESPN outside the South, outside rural areas, and it sort of forced the hand of a lot of major cities to get ESPN. And that thing was on in the middle of the night. It was on at like 2 a.m. But the reason why the America's Cup became such a big deal was because Ted had won it, and then we lost it. That happened in the late 70s. And then when we lost it, it became a big deal. Well, anyway, fast forward to me running over to do these games, and I'd left ESPN in '94. Don McGuire had become the executive producer at Turner, and Steve Craddock and a number of people that were at Raycom were running Sports South, which was the regional cable that Ted also owned. It would later become Fox South and Fox Sports South and all that. And I went there to do like 60 of the 82 NBA games with the Hawks. And then Ernie Jr. was supposed to work these Braves games with his dad. They got Ernie Sr. to come out of retirement to be the voice of the Braves on Sports South. Well, I got a chance to work with Ernie because his son, who's also my age, Ernie Jr. is right at my age, and he was too busy with the Goodwill games to do the baseball. So the Braves just fell in my lap. And I did about 42 to 45 games a year between 94 and 96. Well, on March 25th, you can look it up, March 25th of 95, Michael Jordan is in his 4th game back. And he hits a buzzer beater over Steve Smith to sort of announce his return, like his biggest moment since coming back wearing the number 45. Well, at the Omni in Atlanta, Lenny Wilkins' team was a really good team. It won over 50 games, but could not get past the second round, it seemed, those years. They had traded Dominique Wilkins, and Danny Manning had come in, Steve Smith, Grant Long, those guys. And they're playing against the Bulls. And that particular night, Jane and Ted, he would always sit right next to where we were broadcasting the games. And Mike Glenn, the Stinger from Southern Illinois fame, and I are calling the games back then. The next morning, we all stayed at the Omni Hotel. I was still living in Shreveport, but going back and forth between Atlanta and home all the time. And on occasion, would go and stay in Buckhead during the NBA playoffs when hosting the NBA, Inside the NBA late night shows in 95 and 6. But the game ended with the buzzer beater, and I looked over and Ted was gone. And he had been there before the game, during the game, at halftime, exchanged pleasantries. How are you? He was just a regular guy. But the next morning, I'm getting ready to leave for my flight home, going to steal a couple of days home. And I'm down in the lobby of the hotel. And remember those in lobbies back in those days, you'd have the little kind of a cart with a person working that would be selling coffee and fruit and, that kind of thing that you'd see in a lot of major hotels. Well, the older gentleman that was running that fruit stand and coffee stand is just pulling up, setting himself up. And I'm the only one down there getting ready to check out. I'm waiting for my car to be brought across. And here comes Ted and Jane down. And Ted notices me right away and he says, Brando, I had to leave. We had this, they had an award show that they were presenters for. He and Jane were presenters for in Atlanta that I didn't know about. It was taking place. That's why they had to leave the game. And he said, what happened? What happened in the game? He had no idea what had happened. And so I said, well, Jordan hit a buzzer beater. And he said, well, did we double him? Did we double him? I said, no, you couldn't double him. You got Pippen over here. You got Kukoc over there. And he's like, yeah, that's tough. That's tough. You want some coffee? And I said, sure. And so he says, now I've already checked out. He's trying to check out. Jane is over by the elevators with her back turned because she doesn't want to be seen. I'm pretty sure she didn't have any makeup on. It's 4:00 in the morning. And he says, all right. He says, I want some fruit. And I said, yeah, I'll have. He says, what you got over there? And the guy, Mr. Turner, we got some bananas. We got some strawberries. He says, well, give me some of that. Jane, you want anything? And she's like shaking her head. She wouldn't even turn around. So he gets through and he gets all this stuff and he gives me a cup of coffee. And then he says, okay, how much do I owe you? And the guy gives him the bill and it's like, and he looks at it and he goes, $33.50. My God. So he goes to the motel. He says, you got any change in there for this? Do you have any change? I don't. And he looks around and the guy says, no. And he had no money. He had no money in his pocket. So he goes over to Jane, and Jane's she's still got her back turned, does not want to be seen. Okay, it was like paparazzi. Paparazzi was outside or inside. And he has to go dig in her purse, get a 50. And I think he got 2 20s, and he said, I need another 10. I got to take care of him, meaning the tip. So he gave the guy a 50, and that was like, it blew my mind. It just blew me away. Here's a guy that owns the building, owns the hotel, owns CBS, owns CNN, owns Sports South, the Hawks, the Braves, you name it, and he doesn't have a penny in his pocket, and he has to go get some from Jane, who didn't want to be noticed at all. And the overnight people working at the hotel were just dying laughing. I mean, they're just dying laughing watching this. It was something to see. But that's who Ted was. He was just. He says, I don't ever carry any money. I don't ever carry money.
Love it. Love the fact that Jane had the cash, because it's tough to find a woman with 50 real dollars in her purse anymore. Well, maybe an ATM card.
Well, in 1995, it was a little bit maybe
right.
That was probably, thank God for that. But I guarantee you, she was really happy that there were no iPhones back then.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, Tim, I want to get one more thing, Nadia, and thanks for sharing the story on Ted. But I know how much you love college football. That American Coaches Association came up with their plan, and I know no one actually listens to them. But they're leaning, their recommendations were to go to 24, to eliminate conference championship games, to give Army Navy its own time slot, although there would be games on the other day, and the whole season would be wrapped up by the second week in January. I'm asking you, I'm taking 16 out of the equation, 12 or 24. What would you choose?
Oh, moving forward, 24. Yeah, it's got to get to 24. But I think 16 is going to be a lot of fun and make the transition very easy once we get there. It's like, in a lot of respects, David, And I know the fan reaction is what it is. I know that a lot of the media, a lot of scribes that I have respect for don't like this. They don't like it at all. But they don't know what's good for them. They just don't. They don't understand how badly college football needs to do this. And they got to fix the calendar first and foremost, which I've been saying for a long, long time. But they have to do this because the rev share and the $20.5 million that they're on the hook for because of the NCAA house settlement is not enough. It's not enough. And the presidents and the chancellors that have not figured this out yet are going to figure it out over time. Because when you hear people talking about sustainability or the lack thereof, that's the issue here. You know, we're not talking about, this is a separate thing from the NIL and the portal and all that. This is about what it's going to take for players and athletes in all the sports through the NIL era because of this house settlement.
TSN headlines. A former Wichita Falls police officer has now been indicted in connection with the Victoria Lane case after newly released video surfaced.
Sorry about that. I don't know where that came from.
Don't know where that came from, Tim.
Okay.
Sorry. Continue.
But that's what this is all about. And the other thing that the media doesn't realize, and a lot of fans don't either, is the format structure that, you know, I only know the basics about this. Okay. I don't know any of the details of it. But the concept here of the 24 is to have more earned bids than selected bids. So let's take some of the heat off of the committee. All right. The committee has been, let's face it, very inconsistent. And I think there have been times when we've all thought, and understandably so, that whatever metrics they had in front of them, they just weren't watching what we were watching. So if you've got some elimination process within the framework of the 24 that makes sense, whether it's the Big Ten, the SEC, the Big 12, or the ACC, that is a good way to go. You'll still need a committee. You'll still want a committee, but it doesn't have to be that large, and it doesn't have to be put in the position of having to make the kind of decisions that they've been making before. Some of that can be done for them. I think you would agree. You love college football as much as I do. The level of parity out there now is real. Okay, it used to be a myth. It's real now. And this discussion about what every time that we've heard about expansion, and people have said, "Oh, it's going to ruin the regular season." Well, the regular season is awful in many ways. Okay? This notion that college football's regular season is the greatest regular season in all of sport, David, that's because the postseason sucked out loud forever. And now that we've seen the postseason move to 12, we've seen what? It's flourishing. We've got more viewers than ever. Ratings are up. The end of November regular season games are meaning more because there's more access. And the more access we allow, the more interest there will be nationwide. This is really bothering a lot of the blue bloods, particularly in the South, that want this thing to be, an SEC only invitational, which it has been for many of these years with one network running the show. That's another factor. The moment they go to 16, that contract is null and void, and they'll have to put together another one. And frankly, having multiple networks involved with a blueprint similar to that of the NFL's is something that could really catapult, from a financial standpoint, the situation that they get in TV. They're leaving a lot of money on the table and have been for years. And that's even with the incredible amounts of money that ESPN has spent, which, by the way, is too much, because if it weren't too much, they wouldn't be subleasing a couple of their games each year to Turner. So they don't want to put these games on that they have opposite NFL playoff games, which is also absurd. Why should we be playing college football playoff games opposite NFL games of any kind at any time and ending at the end of January? That's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yes,
to be playing these games when the AFC and NFC championship games are being played. These are all things that fans and some of the media don't want to discuss because they don't understand it.
He's Tim Brando of Fox. Follow him on X at Tim Brando. Tim, thanks so much for the story. Continue breaking 80 in Shreveport, and we'll talk again later in the summer.
Yeah, you got it, David. Give my best to Gary when you see him, will you?
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
It took 20 years of experience. 20 years of experience together to be able to pull that off. David and David pulled it off. Got our 2 questions in with about 13 seconds to spare. Right.
For what it's worth, I picked Cleveland in the series. So what do I know? That was the return feed on the Comrex coming from the satellite company. I muted that, but I now know it works.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
The pro hour, the bonus hour, the final hour of Miller and Moulton on this first Thursday of May. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Steve Carney joined us in hour 2. We just talked to Tim Brando for 15 minutes. He worked for Ted Turner, had a Ted Turner story. All right. So we said, yeah, come on. And we were able to get to college football. We squeezed it all in 15 minutes. Okay. I congratulated him on his contract extension while working in the, Ted Turner question. You threw in a little anecdote about Jane having some money in her wallet, and then you went right to the college football. We got it done, baby. We got it done.
I thought I blew it. I should have just kept going with the Jane. I realized that I damn near made a monumental mistake, and I know better. And I was beating myself up, and I just had to kind of interrupt there as quickly as I could. I will say the story was cute. Don't get me wrong, but the fact that Jane's the one that had money impresses me. Let me just ask all of you listening right now, not the women, don't get mad. And if you do, let me know. How many of your wives, girlfriends, significant others, mistresses, I don't give a damn, how many of them right now have more than $20 in cash on them?
Ooh. If you could fill for 40 seconds, I'll go out and ask my wife.
Sure, go right ahead. But I mean, my wife carries cash most of the time. She likes to go out and get cash. She makes a point of going when her cash reserves are low, of going to an ATM and getting cash. You know me, David. You and I are still cash is king guys.
Yep.
And recently, I've probably regularly had more cash on me than you. Part of my golf life is no one takes Venmo at the golf course.
Right.
You don't give the bets out in Venmo. And the fact that there are golfers now that, go out and play golf and lose bets and say, I'll Venmo you. You're playing against guys that might have wives. They can't have that.
Right.
They need the cash.
Come on now. This is our money. We're keeping this amongst us.
Hell, better question. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line or the chat room. Do any of you have more than $20 on you in cash right now?
At
I know I've got 60 on my
the-
person.
At the moment, I don't, because I literally went through all my cash yesterday. I have $1 in my wallet. I'm getting cash later today. I did text Brando and thanked him for coming on and said, Timmy, I promise next time I see you, I'll have enough cash for coffee and a banana. This is the truth. I am not exaggerating. Okay. I just realized this as you were talking. My wife never has cash on her, or at least she thinks she doesn't. And then when I say to her, well, where did the money go? I gave you X amount. She starts going through her purse and cash is folded up. Oh my goodness, I hate when my money is folded up. And it's folded up into at least sixths.
Sixths?
Oh, it's awful. And they're hidden.
How would you even know you have it then?
Well, that's just it, Mark. I said to her, do you have any cash? She said, no. I said, I just gave you X amount of money. She starts going through her purse. Next thing you know, there's a 10 and 2 ones that are folded in 6 that are tucked under this. And then there's a 20 and this. And next thing you know, Mark, she's got $73 in her purse. It's in 5 different stashes. They're all folded at least 4 times. That's number 1. Here's number 2, which I realized. Mark, I swear to you, this is the truth. You know, I don't do shtick. I don't. Mark, my wife only goes and gets money when she's going to give it away.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought you were going to say is my wife has cash so she can give it away.
Bingo. And she will come home and she'll be like, I took $500 out of the bank. Okay. And then there are all these cards. And next thing you know, all these stamps. And I'm watching how it's divvied up and where it's going. And literally when it's done, I said, did you save a 20 for yourself? And she didn't. So guess who has to give her money?
That would be you.
Right. And
That would be you.
And she just took $500 out of the bank.
Yeah. Well,
right. Yep.
In fact, I have a purchase today, a labor and a little bit of purchase that I have an appointment for. And they're coming to me. And I have enough cash in the house because I got a little drawer.
Okay.
That I'm hoping that this guy will not only, he's going to do the work, but I'm hoping, when I say I've got cash, it saves me a little bit because this is a small business.
Right.
And the small business usually is like, cash? You mean I don't even have to report that this happened?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good thing.
Exactly.
That you and I have been, we're becoming a cashless society. You didn't think that was going to happen. I didn't think that was going to happen. It's happening. And look at it. If you're the government, you want it. It doesn't matter what side. Keep track of everything. The drug dealers now go to crypto. The big boys, they are. I mean, that's they can use they can use crypto and not get caught.
Can I ask one serious question, which I know is not sports related, but what if you don't have credit? Okay. I mean, the thing used to be if you had to declare personal bankruptcy, you couldn't get a credit card for 7 years. You knew you had to pay cash for just about everything, or, put the money in the bank and write your checks to pay your bills. Well, honestly, like these arenas and stadiums that are going cashless and what have you. Hey, some of us, what if we don't have credit cards? What if we don't want to have credit cards?
Well, one, they think most of you have a debit card. First off, that's what they believe. The other part is, at least I know the Trop did, that there was somewhere you could go and give them your 50 or $100 or whatever the case may be, and they would give you essentially a card that had that cash on it to use inside their stadium. I find it to be a joke. But David, there are plenty of places. I mean, there's a little joint that I get sandwiches at. They've been cashless. And I mean, this is a mom and pop restaurant.
Right.
But their claim is, and I do buy this to a certain extent, it keeps employees from stealing anything. Keeps hands out of the till. And David, I worked in the restaurant business much longer than you did. There are a lot of thieves in the restaurant business. There are.
I know.
But the other part about going cashless is even, I play golf at my country club there, and I'm not a big tipper there. I tip the cart guys. We're automatic gratuities on anything you buy food wise. The girl that runs the halfway house, I put cash in her thing.
Right.
But other than that, when I'm upstairs, I don't throw cash. I don't have it. But some of these guys do. And some of these guys are handing bartenders 20s on a daily basis. The bartenders don't want this to go away. There are a lot of people that work in an industry that at least is partially cash that they're getting screwed. They are.
I know.
They want you to claim every dollar you made.
I tip everyone and everything in cash.
I don't anymore.
Even if I have to pay the bill with a check or with a credit card, I tip everyone all the time cash. I figured that's the least I could do. That's my contribution to you. Here you go. It's so funny, Mark, to show how old we are. We remember ma and pa places who wouldn't take credit. Why? Because they didn't want to pay the service fees and charges that came with having MasterCard and Visa and American Express, etc.
Well, I still get the biggest kick out of there's the occasional gas station that'll have two prices.
Right.
One for cash and one for credit. And I'm like, it's $4.55 a gallon. Who's got that much cash on them?
I love, isn't it like 4 cents difference too for the longest time? That always killed me.
Yeah.
You really think
20 gallons, you're saving 80 cents? Really?
Right. Right. So you think I'm going to not use my credit card because of 80 cents? Really? Come on now. Oh, well. Okay. I just wanted to get that. But we did it. Okay. And I hope everybody was listening because Tim Brando reiterated some of the things that Miller and Moulton said yesterday when we were discussing why is it going to go to 24? They need the money. They need the money. And they're totally underselling their product right now. It's great for ESPN, but college football as a sport, hey, Greg Sankey made a mistake. And I'm not saying this because I was at CBS. Okay. Greg Sankey made a mistake. He would have gotten more money, okay, if he had just pushed CBS to the brink, made his deal. The money they're giving the Big Ten, they would have given to the SEC to keep it. And then done his major deal with ESPN for every other game. And the SEC network and what have you. They're leaving money on the table. Even the Big Ten, who has over $1 billion a year in TV revenue, they're leaving money on the table by having the system that we currently have.
And, we echo Tim's sentiments when it comes to the dates. They don't need to be playing this that late. No. You don't need to be going up. You can avoid as best as possible the NFL playoffs. You want to go look at, we realize this year, the last week of the NFL season, a lot of times is meaningless. I have on that Saturday, you could own that Saturday. You can. So
and remember, coming soon is going to be 18 games, which asks the question, is the NFL going to go a week earlier or a week later?
What would you bet, by the way?
A week later.
Yeah, because what does that do? That gets the Super Bowl in sweeps, which is still important in some markets. And the later they play it, the better off they are. Miller and Moulton, the Pro Hour. Go get some cash and spend it, will you? Even if they don't want to take it. Tell them it's all you got.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Sonny, not in a million years would I spend a dime to see that movie. He is a scumbag of a human being. It is astonishing to me that we still, look it. I'm not saying Bill Cosby was a good person. He wasn't. But Bill Cosby drugged a bunch of women and slept with them. That show and you can't even talk about anymore, or you're a bad person. Michael Jackson was molesting boys for years, and we're making movies about him and celebrating him. Yes, he was extremely talented. He was a scumbag of a human being. I can't believe in this Me Too, politically correct era we live in that we're celebrating Michael Jackson the way we are. I'm astonished by it. No one's bringing up that the atrocities he did to little boys throughout his life. It's gross. Like it sickens me to my stomach. I would never in a million years go see that movie.
It is remarkable why it didn't stick with him.
Those same people think wrestling's real, for Christ's sake. But they don't tell it in the movie, Sonny. You asked me about the movie doesn't mention it at all from what I understand. Because I know one person who loves the guy, and when I say something bad about him, he gets offended or acts like it never happened. And it's a joke.
What is this considered? A biopic?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
And it doesn't address it at all?
At all. Even Bohemian Rhapsody addressed the fact that he had AIDS and was gay, for crying out loud. Critics are killing it. They are. All I know is it's the highest grossing biopic ever.
I was going to say, didn't it do almost 100 million the first weekend? So my daughter is insisting Sunday,
excuse me,
bless you, that she, my wife, and I go see The Devil Wears Prada 2. Okay.
I listened to, because some people I never saw the first one. You know me in movies.
Right. I know.
I think it was the Barstool guys talking about it, and they were like, the first movie was great, blah blah blah. And they're like, there's no more magazines. What? And they just started going through all of the changes between then. Like, where do they go with it? And I'm like, those are some great. Like, that actually had me interested in the movie.
Right.
I will say, Puck, again, if you don't have a Costco card, that I don't know if it's Gas Buddy. I'll get it tomorrow because my wife's got that app because she can't always go to Costco, and she saves 7 to 10 cents per gallon with an app that she uses. And she's got to find the gas station, but there's one, reasonably close to her house.
All I know is apparently most everybody who was in the first one is in the second one, and the cast was tremendous. I did not realize, I know we have less than a minute. So there's Anne Hathaway, there's Emily Blunt, and then there's like a friend of Emily Blunt in the movie, and she has like a few lines and she's in a couple scenes. I didn't realize that was Giselle. It's like the only acting she had ever done. And they had to talk her into doing it. And this was before I think she was married to Brady.
Glad that you gave me. I was really at a loss of who Giselle was. Sorry. Just stay in my lane.
Hey, Mark, I can barely pull into it and remember.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts, a pick or two, all coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Fun show, kicking it around today. You missed any part of it, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed.
By the way, the hours are getting up more quickly now for those of you that complain. Because I'm doing it now.
Right.
I fired Trent.
Right.
That's not really true. We don't need him anymore. I'm back.
Right. So. Right. Now, if we didn't need him these last few months, Mark would have fired him 14 times. Okay. But we were dependent on him. And so, he got the show up when he got the show up.
Yeah. And there were very few times that you were aware of how angry I was with him. In fact, I don't even think I ever let you know, really. He let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because he texted both of us apologizing. When I would text him, I wouldn't include you on the text, but I'm like, yo, what's going on here?
This was the reverse Felipe that was going on. Okay. Where I was so nice to Felipe, okay, to his face, okay, but I wanted to fire him 14 times as a producer. And Mark, who wasn't always nice to Felipe in the morning, Mark would be the one who would basically grab my forearm and go, you need to sit down. We're not getting rid of him. And I would literally yell at, why not? And Mark would just say, and we haven't given him a warning. And I'm like, listen, this is the 9th time you told me we haven't given him a warning. Can we give him a warning?
Speaking of the Felipe and Trent duo, that leads us to the NBA.
Right.
But one, your Knicks, that's your NBA team, always has been, did something they don't do often. They won game 2 after winning game 1 to take I don't know about a stranglehold, but to take command of the series. Now, I found it interesting, no Embiid last night, and they still had their damn hands full.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think that this series is over yet, just based on that.
I don't either.
Now, Philly didn't do a very good job against Boston winning at home. They're going to obviously have to protect home court. Will Embiid play games 3 and 4? We have no idea. We don't.
It is interesting, though, in the NBA where sometimes if you lose a big, do you actually become tougher to defend because you go smaller? Okay, and if the other team has a big, it's kind of like, well, what are we going to do with him? He can't guard anybody on the floor. Okay. Now, of course, the running joke is we don't know if Karl Anthony Towns can guard Embiid when he's on the floor, but that's a whole other story. But like
thing that's as big of a story because he's scoring he's doing a lot for the Knicks.
Yeah. I mean, listen, right now it's coming together. Okay. All right. The key is going to be going forward. They're doing something now that they haven't done the last few years. The Knicks were barely above 500 during the last 5 years at home. And now, they lost that one home game to Atlanta. Okay, but they're 4-1 right now at home. Okay, well, okay. They're going to be tough to beat in the East if they win their home games. So we'll see if it continues.
Now, I wonder, look, at Detroit beat Cleveland in game 1. That series, game 2, I picked Cleveland in the series for what it's worth. I thought that their matchup against Detroit was the matchup they wanted in the second round. Like, I didn't think the Knicks wanted Detroit in the second round, but I thought Cleveland did.
And you've been saying that since February. You're like, listen, I think Cleveland matches up really well with Detroit, and if they meet in the spring, I think Cleveland will win. For what it's worth, I took Detroit in 7.
So I have the same sentiment, though. And look, can Detroit win in Cleveland? Absolutely. But after the Orlando series, I think this would be monstrous for Detroit to get tonight at home and to put all of the pressure. Hey, you go get one in Cleveland. Now you got a shot. Now you got a couple of shots to end this thing at home.
And it is interesting in this sense. There's a lot of pressure on the Knicks. It's time for them to win. There's a lot of pressure on the Cavs. It is time for them to win. Mark, if Detroit wins tonight, that's the other thing that they do. They throw 8 more logs on the fire because Detroit could lose this series. It would suck. It would. It'd be a bummer, the whole deal. But 2 years ago, you lost 64 games.
Well, absolutely. And like you said, there's pressure on Cleveland. There's pressure on the Knicks. Detroit didn't have much pressure on them until they went down 3-1 against Orlando. When they turned around and won that series, there's no added pressure on the second round. It's like, well, they were lucky to be Orlando. They're going to get bounced. So even though they're the 1 seed, they're largely playing with house money right now, David. And that's very unusual for a 1 seed.
And Detroit's going to make the moves they make this offseason, even if they don't win another game in this series. Or if they beat Cleveland in 5 and, quite frankly, beat the Knicks and go to the finals. Detroit's still going to look for outside shooting in the offseason, no matter how many games they win the rest of this year. They're going to look for their Desmond Bane, quite frankly. Try not to give up, 4 or 5 first-round picks and some pick swaps when you get them.
Right, because Duncan Robinson's a good shooter, but he's a pylon defensively. I mean, amazing story, by the way, about, that has come out with him in the playoffs and the family tragedy and all the things going on with this, just stuff we didn't know that are, it's amazing. Sad, but amazing. Do you give the Lakers any shot tonight?
I think they'll cover, but no, this is the worst matchup for them. It really is. Like, they even kind of sort of can match up with San Antonio. This is a disaster matchup. Without Luka, no, they're completely outclassed. They'll be lucky to get a game in this series.
And I do think when we get OKC in San Antonio that we're going to get a spectacular series. Right now, pick the one NBA game you want because you're getting one good game a night right now. And it's not a knock on the NBA. I mean, The T-Wolves in San Antonio, game 1, sensational. Last night, the Knicks game was really good.
You're going to get a game in Detroit tonight.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, Cleveland got outscored by 17 in the first quarter, and it was a 1-point game late third. I mean, Cleveland knows how important this game is. They can do the math.
So, I am looking forward to a little Detroit Piston basketball tonight. And only one hockey game tonight. Hurricanes in Philadelphia, season on the line for the Flyers. I don't think that they blew it in game 2. They had their chance, and then they outplay Carolina in overtime. They completely outplay them, and the puck ends up in the back of their net.
Carolina, the most underappreciated team in the playoffs. They've won 6 in a row, yet to lose in these playoffs. Right now, you could have Carolina or the rest of the East. What would you take?
Carolina.
I mean, I'm hoping for a Colorado-Buffalo Stanley Cup final, but if I had to bet a few shekels right now, I think we're getting the 2 C's. And I actually think Carolina can give them a 6-game series. I don't think they can beat them, but
that would be honestly, I think that would be something if they give them 6 right now, because it seems, I like the Wild. The Wild have a good hockey team. That's a talented team. And it doesn't matter what style they've tried to play. They haven't had anything for Colorado. Can they do something when they head back to the hockey state? We shall see. Miller and Moulton. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Today was the day when what's on tap? That's how we finished the show out. By the way, it feels like a Saturday to me, David, for what it's worth. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I have to say, before I left, the old studio was literally a mile from my house. So my commute was literally a mile. And I don't know how my electricity bill is really going to go up any. It's a computer. I don't think we're running that much juice out of that.
Did you get my text?
No,
Huh.
I did not.
Oh, I see. That's probably because I sent it to somebody else.
I do that once in a while.
It's kind of like what I told Andy Enfield I loved him at like 6:30 on a Sunday morning.
All right. That was the middle segment. What was the first one? Do you remember? Was it Raiders and Jets?
Yeah, we were talking about well, I mentioned the Dolphins and the over-under, which got us onto NFL scheduling, and what they're talking about is, over-unders right now, blah, blah, blah. And then, we mentioned Dolphins, Raiders, Jets. So basically, a little NFL schedule talk. Yeah.
The good thing now is I can, even though I don't have this hour yet, I can literally type in the whole thing of what I want. And then when I just add the show, it makes my life a little easier. But I don't know why they're taking so long to upload this hour right now. That's starting to bother me. I hope they don't do it in the 10 o'clock hour because I don't have the time for that today.
Is this the company we're paying?
This is the satellite company. What they do, David, is that there's a site that I go to, and they every hour upload each segment one by one. Usually it takes 15 to 25 minutes. Today, for whatever reason, it's taken longer, and I don't know the reason why. But instead, because I can't record right now, I haven't figured out how to record the show at the proper levels. I don't know. That Adobe Audition that I use, it's just hot and overmodulated, and I don't know. I have watched videos, I have done a lot of different things, and I can't seem to figure it out. So, yes, and the other good thing is it's by segment. So when we have best of segments, I literally can save the segment. So when we go to put together David, that's funny. When I go to put together best ofs for when we're off, it will be a lot easier on me.
Okay.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
This is it. 22 minutes till the top of the hour. It's our last segment of the day. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X.
You know, I mentioned earlier in the show that there was some silence in the drive home yesterday because of a spilled milkshake. But when we were talking again, I said, man, I really thought the whole drive home it was a Friday. because I'd been going home on Friday, and I went, oh crap, I got 2 more days to work. I got a lot to do when I get home.
Right.
Hit me like a brick.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm like, wow, this is the longest week I've had in a long time. A lot of emotional things yesterday, bigger days at the doctor's office and all that. So it's just been a little longer than, it's fine. We'll get there, but I don't know what to tell you.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. We start today in 1718.
Hello.
Jean-Baptiste Lemon founded New Orleans. It was today in 1789, David, the first presidential inaugural ball in New York for George Washington. And you know what happened, don't you?
George Toadweed. Absolutely, George Toadweed. Are you kidding me, man? He even feels that stuff, man. That's what I'm talking about.
1867. This is one of those ironies in life to me. Chemist Alfred Nobel, the Nobel Peace Prize,
Right.
he patented dynamite.
Huh.
Right. It was the first of 3 patents that he received for the explosive material. I mean, I just always found an irony that the guy who founded the Nobel Peace Prize invented dynamite.
Seems to be an oxymoron.
It does.
Yeah. By the way, just very quickly while we're talking awards, did you see who won a Pulitzer?
Pablo Torre.
A Pulitzer.
Only one of the few people reporting in this world anymore, David.
A Pulitzer.
You got an Emmy.
Yeah, I know, but I was part of a team. I didn't, I'm not good enough for an Emmy. I had to be on the backs of others. Besides, it's an Emmy. Do you know how
those Edwin R. Murrow Awards?
Yeah, I never counted those.
Oh, did you ever get one though?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They kind of gave those out like chiclets, didn't they?
They give a lot of them out, and
people are very proud of them in the industry.
Oh, news directors. Oh my goodness. Kids go crazy. They tape 30-second promos. They'll run them for a couple months on the air. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of the people that we know have done some really good things to win some of those awards, but a Pulitzer and Adam Silver's still going to do nothing.
Not a damn thing. We mentioned a couple of days ago that the Lusitania left. Today it was sunk. 1915. No repercussions from that whatsoever.
Didn't take long.
No. 1941. The first record to be designated gold.
Huh.
It was Glenn Miller's Chattanooga Choo Choo. I know David's going to hum it after the show.
Yep.
1916, Brezhnev takes over as president of the Soviet Union. The Mamas and Papas hit number 1 today with Monday in 1966. Today in 77, Seattle Slew wins the Derby. And the number 1 song in the land, running at 6 minutes and 8 seconds, is Hotel California by the Eagles. Today in 94, the Nuggets become the first 8 seed to beat a 1 seed. That was Seattle.
You remember the famous shot? Game's over. It was a close game. Mutombo's lying on his back in the paint, holding the ball, and then he takes his hand off the ball, and he wags the finger.
The 05 Derby today. One of those, if you had the exacta, boy, did you get paid. Mike Smith of Port Giacomo at 50-1 wins the Derby. Closing argument finished second, who was another long shot. The exacta paid almost 10 grand.
Well, how much money have we all won by just throwing $2 or $5 on Mike Smith.
Today in 07, Sammy Hagar sells an 80% stake in his Cabo Wabo tequila for a cool 80 schmil. And today, 4 years ago, Rich Strike with Sonny Leon on board at 80-1 becomes the second biggest long shot to ever win the Derby.
And think about it, what we've had just this decade, whether they win or just place and show. I mean, it really is worth taking a couple, $2, $3 here and there and just spreading it out.
Gary Cooper, the strong silent type, just because I've watched The Sopranos recently, and I don't think there's an episode the first year that Tony Soprano doesn't utter that. Eva Perone, Johnny Unitas, and your guy, Tim Russert, would have all celebrated birthdays today. Russert would have been 76 is all, David.
Yeah, he passed away in 08. He was in his late 50s.
Grateful Dead drummer Bill Krautzman's 80. Cam Young's 29. And YouTube star and the person that's going to make East Carolina football great, Mr. Beast, is 28. What did I miss, David?
Beethoven's Ninth and Final Symphony debuted today.
He was deaf at the time.
Uh-huh.
Pretty remarkable, actually.
Just a tad.
I mean,
Just a tad.
When you get right down to it, it's pretty remarkable.
Right. Yep. I mean, it's not Pablo Torre winning a Pulitzer, but it's close.
Does that bother you?
No. Oh, no.
Okay.
No, what's going to bother me is when Adam Silver does absolutely nothing to Steve Ballmer. This is cheating, okay, the likes of which we've never seen in the NBA. It's not even close. I mean, David Stern, because the Timberwolves tampered with the signing of Joe Smith, took the signing away and took 5 first-round picks against them. I mean, seriously, what would David Stern be doing to Steve Ballmer? He'd be spanking him over his knee as he took the franchise away from him. Oh.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
George Tote weed. Absolutely George Tote weed. Are you kidding me, man? He grew fields of that stuff, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Got a toy, David. Got a toy.
Oh, we all know you do now.
By the way, that can be used for more than just that. You know, you get good sound. I got buttons for sound now, David. Very excited. Very excited. All right. For the good today, we go to Australia, where a high school group of women were training not only to hike, but what happens if something goes bad. And then, while hiking, they rescued a hiker who broke their leg, and they had trained for the exact situation. They were on a 4-day hike. On day 3, they came across Thomas Wendland, who had broken his leg. They used tarp poles and a hammock and created a gurney and were able to get him on and take him to safety. High school students, good for them. For the bad, we go to the airline, Southwest Airlines, where a flight from Oakland to San Diego was delayed for more than an hour because of a passenger. Well, not really a passenger, a robot. You see, Eli Ben Abraham of Elite Event Robotics confirmed he had a 4-foot-tall robot, and he bought a ticket for the robot. But the robot was in an aisle, apparently in violations of the airline's policy for large carry-on. So he moved him to the window. But apparently that was a problem because the airline's like, what kind of batteries are in that thing? And the lithium battery in Bebop, the robot, was found to be larger than the maximum allowed by Southwest Airlines. So the plane was able to depart once the battery was removed and confiscated. They departed an hour behind schedule. How ticked are you? That's a short flight. That's not a long flight. You're not happy about that.
No. By the way, did you hear about the Southwest Spirit story over the weekend?
I did not. I mean, I know Spirit went under, which shocked Everybody.
So they go under at technically 3 a.m. Saturday, and they had a pilot who I guess Sunday was going to fly his last flight. 40-something years a pilot, and they make a big deal of that. They line up, they do the water, over the plane when he lands, and they come off the plane and they give the pilot, and the whole crew's waiting there on the concourse and what have you. Well, obviously he didn't do his last flight, but word got out that he needed a ride home, so he's flying Southwest home. Southwest finds out about him and his story, and sure enough, when the plane landed, they had the hoses and the water thing, and when he came off the plane, all the Southwest crew was waiting for him when he came off the plane and gave him what you give him in a standing ovation and the whole deal. Classy move.
That's awesome. Spirit apparently left people stranded at airports all over the place when they shut down, which really wasn't any different than when they were running.
Hello.
Finally, the ugly, we go to California, where Travis Boise and his friend Ron Tedeka were hydrofoil surfing when they glided over a shark. The shark was apparently interested, and the great white chased them for more than a mile.
Whoa!
An 11-foot long shark, all videoed. The one guy's videoing his buddy being chased by a shark. They theorized, the National Aquatic and Atmospheric Administration theorized that the foil under the surfboard might have looked like a stingray to the shark. I don't give a damn what it looked like. It's a shark.
Right.
More reasons to never hydrofoil surf, David.
Yes.
As if we needed them. And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, May the 7th, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, offering great pay, great bonuses, signing bonuses, that is, and overtime opportunities. CapeCops.com. That's where you get all the info. CapeCops.com.
One hockey game tonight. It's on TNT, 8 o'clock. The scene shifts to Philadelphia. Hurricanes and Flyers. Carolina up 2 spit. 2 NBA playoff games, both on Amazon Prime. 7 o'clock, Cleveland at Detroit. Pistons up 1-0. 9:30, it'll be closer to 10. Lakers and OKC. OKC up 1-0. Detroit a 3.5-point favorite, just what they were in game 1. OKC a 15.5-point favorite, just what they were in game 1. 10 baseball games today, 6 of them in the afternoon. Rays are in Boston tonight. Marlins finishing up their series with the Orioles tonight. Okay. So the Reds have lost 6 in a row, while the Cubs have won 8 in a row. The Cubs have walked off the Reds 3 nights in a row. Final game of the 4-game series this afternoon at Wrigley. The Reds are throwing a guy whose ERA is 5 and change. And the Cubs are throwing Imanaga, whose whip is like 0.85. You can get good odds on the Reds. Aren't they due?
Wow, plus 170 on the Reds. Why not?
I mean,
all right, David, I'm going with you right now.
This makes no sense.
I'm making the bet.
It makes no sense at all.
I'll lose $5 for you.
I
made a Trent bet on it.
Just a thought that, sometimes you just can't explain it. It's baseball. But, boy, do the Reds need a win. I'll say it again. Friday, they were in first place. Today, they're 5 back of the Cubs. Golly.
Yeah, we called that the best series of the week. And by the end of it, I guess they're still both over 500, but it's not first versus second anymore.
Well, listen, the Cubs have been trailing in the bottom of the ninth 2 of the 3 games, and they've won all 3.
Problem is the Reds just aren't scoring enough runs anymore.
No, they need a bat. They might need 2. They don't the Reds on paper look a lot like the Mariners last year, heading to the deadline when they went out and got 2 bats? Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your day.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton